We did it. We're live, everybody. We are live. How you doing, Alan? Turtle Burger. How's it going? Real shit. Pumped. Nice. I just woke up from a nap. So tonight, we're gonna do something a little different. It's not that different, because we're doing the Radical Dreamers portion of the Chrono Cross Radical Dreamers edition, which is purely a visual novel. So I'm going to be sitting here reading to you for a while. And I know very little about this, so we'll get to experience it together if you're new to this as well. We already got the platinum for this last night, so if you're interested in seeing how you get a platinum in this game, check out the other 14 parts of this Chrono Cross series. This is going to be strictly Radical Dreamers, plus the combined new ending that you get for beating Chrono Cross and Radical Dreamers on this collection. So let's go do that. Yeah, tonight Uncle Megaharv will read a nighttime story, that's right. I tried to figure out how to play this back in like 2017, but I couldn't wrap my head around it. Also seems like I didn't need that much space on the screen, but I'm not gonna mess with it now. It all began with a notebook my mother handed me. She told me she found it while cleaning out the closet. Oh? This old notebook covered with mold was a diary that belonged to my grandfather who passed away years ago. It contained his distant memories. Was this that one that Kid had when she was like poisoned or whatever? Was there not a diary? I wonder if you still remember how we first met and our many adventures. It all seemed like a dream. We ran like the wind during those warm summer days long ago. You're a piece of star that fell from the sky. A piece of something. I can still relive the memories of those days long past. Just by closing my eyes like so and whispering your name into the desolate night. Kid. Kid. Just 2 kids? No, not 3 kids? Just 4 kicks? Ah, we went into the book. Very aggressively into the book. Is that... Forget, is that supposed to be Viper Manor? Hey kid. Got to see a lot of stuff where a lot of stuff from Chrono Cross comes from. I'm ready. I'm ready. Are you ready, kid? I said I'm ready. I know you're anxious, but stay on your toes. I'm good at staying on my toes. Yeah, likewise, mate. You mess up and I'm leaving you behind. Got that, Serge? I didn't think I actually chose my name last night, but... Otherwise, he would still be USB port. I guess the 4 seconds I was into this, the game's like, alright, you're Serge. Fine then. Come on, Magil, let's go. That bastard Lynx is gonna get what he deserves. Say your prayers, nothing'll do you any good. I guess that's Fort Dragonia. Ha ha ha. This is the Radical Dreamers portion of Chrono Cross, which is purely visual novel. Storyline, story time with Megaharv. Oh, that was just like the opening crawl. Here are the controls. I'm impressed there's a menu. Oh, and that's how you go back to the launcher with the L1, R1, L2, and options. Okay. Sound settings, auto text. Alright. What do we do in the menu? Good old classic Squaresoft noises. This is the Chrono Trigger noise. USB port. You know, just to stay consistent with the canon that we have set in the game. USB port. Oh, just enough spaces too. Good, good. Ironically, this game behaves like a VIC... Oh, a VIC-20s game. Oh, really? Rather than a visual novel, you need a map for... I know exactly what you're talking about, Alan. I didn't realize this game was like this. There was something like that in Nier as well, so... I don't know, we'll see if I can find my way around. It's basically unheard of at this point, yeah. Yeah, a visual novel inside a video game. Well, back in the day, it was released as like its own thing back in Japan. What's going on, Douglas? Yeah, very nostalgic. The old lady's tip-off was right around the money. The counterspell and the barrier around the outer walls could have done a real number on us. Kid's plain, unadored braid flicked back and forth across her shoulders as she walked. What's going on, Red Fox? I don't know how to do that. We picked our way through the elaborate lattice of the Manor's magic shields, moving in closer and closer to Lord Lynx's stronghold. The three of us, Kid, Magil, and me. Me being USB port. Guess it must have been 3 years already since I first met Kid. Back then I was just a wandering musician, traveling wherever my feet would take me and wherever a few tunes would pay for a warm bed. It was the Outlands in a town called Rigoria, which I'm not familiar with, where we first ran across one another. And since then, she dragged me along on a whole bunch of adventures and misadventures. Ah, Kid. What color should I make my lights for this? Goodness. For this specific stream? I'm thinking like a blue tint. Found your Final Fantasy X guide in your closet, along with your gaming mags. I mean, at least you found it. Oh. She was a thief, and not just any thief. Just a few months shy of 17, and already renowned as one of the realm's greatest. Well, when's Chrono Cross take place? If Kid is 16 and she's just a few months shy of 17, and she's still 16 when Chrono Cross happens, is her 17th birthday like the next day? I guess this isn't really like... This isn't really like a backstory for Chrono Cross. I guess it's more like... Think of it as like another dimension. Like there's Homeworld and another world. Think of it as like a different one from that, I guess. Truth is a little different. Those bandits with hearts of gold you've heard about in the stories, the ones who steal from the rich to give to the poor, yeah, like Robin Hood, that wasn't Kid style. She was short-tempered, prone to lying, bossy, obsessed with money. Rarely did she care to listen to a single word anyone said to her. What'd you say? She wasn't all bad. Sometimes. She had her moments, anyway. Glanced over my shoulder to see a shadow hovering behind us, blending into the darkness like smoke. Magil, also known as Magil the Shade. He was Kid's partner. Oh, they were, like, dating. But even after 3 years, I heard that he and Kid had started working together way before I met her. He always covered the top half of his face with a mask. Never seen what he looked like underneath. He was a man so mysterious that sometimes it seemed like he was an interloper from another world. Wasn't like Kid. Was exactly big on details about her past either, but Magil, he may as well not have had one. Kid didn't seem to know much about her partner in crime either. Kind of man he was. Kind of life he'd lived before. Nothing. Yeah, I was buffering even worse before I went live, just to find out I wasn't even connected to the right internet. So I'm not really sure what the struggle is tonight. You might ask how exactly I wound up being part of this merry band. Well, it's complicated. I mean, worst case scenario with this game, I could always just upload the VOD. It's not going to be overly interactive. I guess you could say that life doesn't always turn out the way you think it will. Kid who was heading up our little raiding party suddenly stopped dead. Look lively, boys. Got company. Glanced around warily as cold, cruel eyes emerged from the darkness. Heard a loud growl. Dark shit surrounding us. What if I hit this button? There, I just had to sneeze the buffering out. The buffering was in my nose. It's out now. What game did you play, Red Fox? Well, that's all my advice. Big part of the fun I had with this game was making annotations, making a drawn map. Felt like it was a true adventure. Hey, buddy. Well, I mean, I'll probably know what you're saying once I get going with it. I'll probably have like a mental map going around. And I guess depending on your choices, hey, Speedy. I guess depending on your choices, you get different endings. I'm not going to be too anal retentive about the endings I get, buddy. Buddy. What are you going through? A pack of wildcats. Must have been about 10 of them. Thrill of fear ran down my spine. Flustered, I pulled my knight back from my belt. Kid calmly shifted into a fighting stance. Watch yourselves. I don't reckon these buggers have been treated for rabies. The wildcats snarled and growled as they slowly closed in on us. Hey, buddy. Tighter and tighter. Their eyes glinted in the darkness like fireflies. One of them sent an almighty roar, soaring to the moon, and the hunt was on. What was I gonna do? We're actually doing like a visual novel battle right now. Tried to use magic. Kid dived into the thick of the pack of wildcats and gave the largest of their number an almighty kick to the chops. Startled beast gave a yelp and it was sent flying. Turned to my right to see that a nearby wildcat was charging towards me, its head lowered menacingly. Panicked, I tried to make a last-second dodge. I wasn't fast enough. Its claws scraped against my side as it rushed past me. Winced in pain for a moment, then turned my face to my foe and readied myself. I tried to use magic last time. I didn't know any spells. Wildcat lunged at me, its jaws agape. By pure reflex, I shielded my face with my arm. An intense pain shot through me from wrist to shoulder. Wildcat tried to sink its fangs in deeper, but its grip was poor. I shook it off and it gave it a kick for good measure, sending it running back into the pack. USB port, behind you. Panicked by Kid's warning, I whirred wildly around. Came face to face with a pair of eyes blazing like hellfire. You're making the way this time. Yeah. Never finished this game because of the time I lack a lot of English. Yeah, no worries. My panic, there's nothing I could do but stare as the red gaping maw of the wildcat grew closer and closer, gradually eclipsing my vision. My eyes were drawn to its yellow fangs, one of which was missing. My senses were overpowered with the smell of rotting flesh. I saw myself disappearing into those dark, fleshy depths. Did I die? Like, what's happened? And then something crashed into me from the side, sending me flying. Like Henry Stickmin games. I don't know what that means. Excuse me. Wildcat bit down hard where my head had only been a second ago. There's a sound like a bear trap slamming shut. And my shoulder exploded with pain. I was lucky its claws had just caught me as I was thrown clear. Like gasping where I'd been slammed into the ground, the wind knocked clean out of me. You bloody idiot. What are you doing just standing there? It was Kid. I lifted my head from the corner of my eye, saw her get nimbly back to her feet and square off with another wildcat. Square soft with another one. Struggling to force some air back into my lungs, I somehow managed to get my aching body back into its feet. Breathing heavily, the handle of my knife was slick with sweat as I tightened my grip. The kick like a bolt of lightning, Kid landed a clean hit on the flank of a nearby wildcat. It's still game over. Well, I've been saving it, so you can die per se. Then the roar of fire, burning smell filled my nostrils next to me. Shrill screech pierced the air. Magil's fire spell engulfed the head of the nearby wildcat. It fled, darting off into the darkness like an arrow. We did it. We won. I scanned the area only a moment ago. We had been surrounded, but now there wasn't a single wildcat left. Kid and Magil either sent the rest off with their tails between their legs or put paid to them once and for all. You're dreaming if you're thinking a pack of flea-bitten moggies is going to stop us lynx. Kid crossed her arms and flashed a triumphant grin. Meanwhile, I was panting heavily. Felt like my legs were about to give out. Collapsed to my knees, overwhelmed by what just happened. I'd taken a few hits, but I was fine otherwise. A couple of scars to talk about later, maybe, but nothing that would stop me carrying on. Are you hurt, Magil? Looked down at me, with his face expressionless as ever. No worries, Mag. He'll be alright, said Kid, barging in to get a better look at me. Maybe a winging sook, but it'll take a few more scratches to kill this one. She was nothing if not sympathetic. She was right, this is no time to be moaning my lot. We hadn't even reached the manor yet. I dabbed at my wounds with a tincture-soaked cloth, wrapped them with bandages, and looked up at the other two. We're just getting started, I grinned back, putting on a brave face. That's what I like to hear, Kid cheerily announced from close quarters. Then her eyes turned cold, like the cold glow of the moon in the night sky. It's gonna be a long night. I nodded, trying my hardest not to utterly lose myself in her pale blue eyes. Let's get this show back on the road. She turned away and marched off deeper into the trees, without looking behind to see if Magil and I were following her. Magil, of course, was already right behind her, his unhurried gait making it seem as though nothing much had happened. Jumped back up to my feet to chase after them. I'd be even more trouble than I bargained for if I got separated from them. The dark forest inside the manor perimeter seemed to go on forever, a labyrinth of trees and boulders. The manor itself loomed in the distance, glowing over the vast grounds, and hidden within was a veritable mountain of treasure just waiting. Lord Lynx was the noble who ruled the remote territory of Rajoria. He was also Kid's mortal enemy. We were there that night to steal a certain jewel he kept locked away, the Frozen Flame. The Frozen Flame was veiled in mystery, said to be imbued with an uncanny energy, and it possessed a beauty and clarity that made it a priceless treasure. Countless thieves have tried to steal it, and not one of them had come close to succeeding. Nor had any of them escaped the manor alive. It's now our turn to try and sneak into this place of death, led by a girl who had the ambition to make the impossible possible, a hunger for vengeance that drove her onward, and a desire for riches that could never be satisfied. As we pressed onward through the tree-filled darkness, the shadows gave way at last, revealing the true extent of the vast mansion. How's it going, Nick? Catch some breath while I can. Finally say your prayers, Lynx, because we're coming for you. Keep into the overgrowth and the shadows of the trees, we made our way around the manor walls in search of a means of entry. What do you means? Eventually we came to a terrace overlooking the garden. There's no sign of any guards nearby. The only thing surrounding the manor was an uncanny stillness. This will lead us straight into the west wing. Just as well. We don't have any business in the rest of the manor tonight, Magil said, gazing up at the dark building towering over us in the pale moonlight. Hmm? Is grade 8 in the chat? I don't see them. Yeah, 8 hours. Oh, great. 8 hours until the weekend. Gotcha. So you got one more shift, then you're off for the weekend. Very good. Stop, Magil hissed sharply. Remember what we're here for. The Frozen Flame. We focus on this above all else. Your vengeance is of secondary concern, agreed. Be back later if you're still alive. Sounds good, Nick. I don't know if I will be or not, but if I am, I'll see you then. Michael Mervyn, how's it going? Yeah, don't get your knickers in a twist. But if we happen to run into him, I'm gonna knock that Drongo's block off, and neither you or anyone else is gonna stop me. I guess Kid was gonna get her way whether we liked it or not. Let's go, boys. The night is young. She cleared the railing with a sprightly hop, vanished inside the manor. I got 8 more of your last 10-hour shift. Good stuff. Glanced towards Magil and he nodded in silence. We followed Kid's lead. We were soon inside Lord Lynx's lair. That was alliteration. Alright, sounds good, Nick. If the letter C shows up, I will forward that message to it. Yeah, I'm gonna kick his arse so hard so he'll kiss the moons, yeah. That is what Kid meant to say. I'm pretty sure that's all she ever means to say. The darkness swallowed us whole. A corridor stretched off to the left and the right from the terrace. Seemed equally dark and chilly in both directions. Left. Pressed on through the darkness down corridors that turned and twisted, snake-like this way and that way. Everything around was still and silent. It felt strangely like we were being watched. As if countless shadows looking on with curiosity. I really don't appreciate it when the text auto-forwards itself. We continue creeping cautiously down the corridors. Kid moved proudly and stealthily like a cat, while in the shadows, Magil followed, gliding swiftly and silently like a sinister breeze. Give me time to read this, please. Come on, you go all the trouble to remaster this so you don't give people the chance to actually read the goddamn text? Give your head a shake, Square. We took the corridor leading from the left-hand side of the terrace, eventually arriving at an intersection with some stairs. The path to the right led down the stairs. The path to the left was a dark side passage. Main corridor continued straight onwards. Let's go more left. We headed down the side passage. At the end of it, we came to an old, immaculately polished door. We went inside. Gently pushed the door ajar and peeked into the room. Next thing I knew, she slipped inside. Magil and I followed. Looks like a study. The room was lit by the moonlight coming through the long, slender windows. Like, if you don't get that upside-down triangle, it means the text is going to auto-scroll, and I can't read it fast enough out loud. Like, they couldn't have fixed that. Like, they had to make an English translation for this. I don't think there ever was one. An official one. It's pretty big for a study, with an immaculate antique desk dominating the center. So are we... I think I know where we are. The rows of bookshelves lined with thick, dusty old tomes. The wall at the rear of the room was decorated with paintings, and shelves of vases and painted plates stood before it. They all seemed to be curious from foreign lands. Check the desk. Went over to the desk and started searching the drawers. There I found a neatly arranged set of pens, bottles, other writing materials. Nothing of interest. A small portrait on the desk caught my eye. Picture of a young girl with a gentle smile on her lips. Who was she? The girl Lynx adopted. If you ask me, it wasn't because he was looking to help the needy, said Kid, peering over my shoulder. Stairs, huh? Yeah, I know, a pretty great guy, yeah, who hates those. Do tell. Not even a looker. Suddenly there was a knock at the door. It wasn't a loud knock, but in the bottomless silence of the night, it might as well have been a thunderclap. Kid and I stood bolt upright and turned towards it. Magil, meanwhile, hid in the shadows, drifting away like smoke. Panicked, I whispered to Kid, "Hide under the desk." Hide under the desk. You what? There's no time. I shoved Kid under the desk and then darted under it with her. It's more cramped than I thought it would be. I packed myself in as best as I could. But Kid and I found ourselves in an awkward tangle of legs and arms. Slowly the door opened. Flickering candlelight spread from the doorway with a warm glow. A shadowy figure appeared at the threshold. Very well made fan translation, but it took long. Oh, yeah. that people just moved on, didn't notice when it was released. Tried to pack myself into the space under the desk a little tighter, and it stilled my breath. Looked down for a moment and my heart skipped a beat. Kid's lips were right there. Oh. For a moment, everything else seemed to drift away. The pink bow of her mouth was so soft, so perfectly formed. Suddenly, my heart was beating so loud I thought my chest would burst. I tore my eyes away and squeezed them tightly shut. It seemed that whoever it was didn't mean to come in, they simply stood there. Strange, I thought I heard something. Lord of the Manor is, of course. Lord of the Manor is away, of course. Why would there be anyone in here? I have to get over me nerves. Everything was fine until we heard the news that Poirot was on the move. The figure quietly closed the door, plunging the room back into darkness. The voice trailed off to a whisper. We remained motionless, keeping our ears prickled for any sign of unwelcome return. All we heard were footsteps moving away. As I stayed hidden, listening for trouble, a thought began to cross my mind. Kid sure does smell nice. Oh, USB port, you gonna move your arse or what? She pushed my chin upward and away from her as she spoke. Sorry. Rushed to my feet in a panic, smacked my head right into the top of the desk. Ow! Cradling my head in my hands, I crawled out from underneath. Oh, that stings. Can that kill you? Kid followed right after and stood up looking down on me on the floor. Not your most heroic moment. You alright? Yeah, I'll live. No sign of that dirtbag Lynx. Lucky for him, Kid snorted. Sequoia's made its move. Magil emerged from the shadows, contemplating the news we've overheard. Kid, if the rumors are true, we might as well be about to find ourselves in a very difficult situation. Seemed to be her thinking, too. Poir was a powerful nation that ruled the southern continent. Heard it was a prosperous land whose recent and sudden development had pushed it far ahead of its neighbors, which made me wonder, what would its inhabitants want here out in the sticks? They couldn't be after the frozen flame too, could they? As valuable as it is, a jewel was a jewel in the grand scheme of things. Couldn't imagine it being an item of national interest. I mean, it was just a pretty rock, right? Let them do what they want. If everyone's busy playing soldiers, they won't be bothering us. Come on, we got things to do. She headed for the door. We left the room and made our way back down the side passage. So we left the study. Right back at the intersection. Stairs led downward and the corridor branched left and right. The right branch leading back towards the terrace. We'll take the stairs. Slowly we crept down the staircase, descending deeper into blackness as we went. The path and the path split. The left continued on to an atrium that was a sort of plaza, while the path to the right was a winding passageway. Left. Kid poked her head through the arch-shaped door and took a look around. It's big in here. Must be some kind of hall. I mean, kids in the hall right now? We took a cautious look around, then entered, one after another. Sexy. The atrium was a beautiful plaza, complete with a statue that doubled as a fountain. Pillars and arches lined the walls, and in the center was a small pool of clear water, above which the statue stood. On the other side of the room, I could see another arched entrance like the one we had come through. Ooh, that's cold. Kid was scooping up water from the fountain. I went over to her and, resting my hand on the edge of the marble basin, peered into the pool beneath. Shadows flickered under the water's surface. Reckon those fish are rare, as in valuable? Couldn't see the bottom. I wondered how deep it was. The shadow of one of the fish grew larger. Whoa, sensing danger, Kid leapt back from the edge. Clack. A fish leaped out from the water and snapped at her, its jaws bristling with razor-sharp teeth. Its mouth closed shut on the air where she had been only moments before, and with a splash, the fish darted back under the water. Piranodons. Because it can't just be regular piranhas. Deadly carnivorous fish with razor-sharp teeth and powerful jaws that could snap a monster's horn in half. Staring in honor, I watched as dark shadows began to gather in what little of the pool I could make out. Piranodons must have detected prey. Soon the room was filled with the sound of splashing and snapping as the fish teemed at the water's surface. Bloody hell. Even Kid was uneasy. She took another step back. How many piranodons were in the pool? Thought of what would happen if they all leapt clear of the water and attacked at once crossed my mind. Bead a cold sweat rolled down from my forehead. Yeah, oddly enough, piranodons were not an enemy in Chrono Cross. This is as far as you got. Suddenly the water coming from the statue turned crimson and shot out a powerful jet that nearly touched the ceiling. Kid jumped back again. I stood in shock, watching the torrent of water erupting from the statue. Hey, Cody, how you doing? How familiar are you with the Radical Dreamers part of this? This is my first time. Scarlet waters continued to gush out from the fountain. The pool grew redder and redder and started to overflow. We looked on, entranced, but the spell was soon broken when we realized that the water was starting to flow faster and faster over the rim of the basin. Piranodons began to jump and snap at the water's surface with bloodthirsty glee. We rushed to the exit. We rushed back the way we came. Oh, you won't let me save her right now? Let's deal with the fish. You want to try and pick this little off one by one? Kid glared back at me, her face a picture of exasperated disbelief. Don't be a bloody idiot. You want to die here? While I stood there, my mouth agape, a piranodon sank its teeth into my foot. A jolt of pain surged up my leg, making me jump. What was I gonna do? Rush to the exit the other side. We gotta get to the other side. We desperately tried to wade through the exit opposite us. Water was already up to my waist. A strange smell like warm meat rose from the water's surface. I yelped as my left thigh and right ankle simultaneously erupted with pain. Still a long way to the exit. What was I gonna do? Deal with the fish. I think I'm dead. Not very familiar, played it maybe twice, okay, years ago, gotcha. We desperately tried to wade towards the exit opposite us. Water's already up to my waist. Is it just gonna... I guess I gotta rush back the way I came. Okay, it's not... It's being really nice to me if I can die right here. Oh, yeah, now I'm dead. And that was how I died. There, I did that the wrongest way possible. New ending, booyah. Yeah, that battle music. Hey, KJ, what's going on? I just got eaten by piranhas. Maybe I can do this better now. True ending, am I right? I think you're right. This is supposed to take place before Chrono Cross, but I think, like, a different ending. Defended myself. I attacked. Take that, beast belly. Magil burnt them. Okay, so I guess I could have read some of that again, but doesn't seem like we actually took damage this time, so if that helps. I'm still gonna do the exact same thing I did last time. Just getting started. should get used to saving him more regularly. Hey, the whip snap, yeah. It's a separate story. The concept that Cross was based on. But then again, it doesn't seem like there's much point in going back to that piranha room, because I can't make it to the other side. So I don't know, I'll just go right this time instead of left. I don't know, I might still have to go to the... I'll just try not to go to the piranha room, I guess. What's going on, Mr. Dizzle? What's up? Let's save it on the regular. Like I said, once I get, like, an actual ending. I think it was originally, yeah, I think so too, the whip snap. Only a Satellaview download. I mean, I suppose I understand why it doesn't let you save at the decision-making points. Okay, I'm gonna go left again. I'm gonna do exactly what I did, except... Like I said, don't do the piranha stuff, just in case I have to come to here. I don't know if I do or not. Hey, Scott, I'm doing well. Hope you're also well. Beatable in one sitting? I think so. From what I understand, it's beatable in one sitting, but if I want to see, like, all the text this game has to offer, it would be more than one sitting, but I'm not gonna play it that thoroughly. I don't plan to. Definitely better than yesterday. Well, it's a step in the right direction. Left. Because going down the stairs is what cost me. Enter the study. Theoretically, this takes place in a different reality, where the baby clone Shala ended up first, and after being sent through time by Shala, after this game she meets Balthasar. Check the desk. Not even a looker. Under the desk seemed to work, even though I bonked my head. Off topic, but are you ever gonna stream The Last of Us? Maybe. Love it when you play games out of your element. Really think you'd like it. I've definitely had people ask me to play The Last of Us. I might have it as a PS Plus game. But yeah, I don't have like an immediate plan to play it, but I'm not against playing it. All-Star sends her to the past and homeworld to stop Lynx from drowning Surge. Creating the split. Never played this all the way through. Mr. Dizzle, I hear you. I haven't either. I haven't even done the optional dungeons in Chrono's Trigger. Somehow. Although we're gonna fix that before much more time goes by. You going for the plat? Oh yeah, we got the plat last night. Much to my surprise. You don't even need to beat this to get the... You don't even need to beat Radical Dreamers to get the platinum in this for some reason. I guess we can go to the terrace. Go out onto the terrace. I missed it. Yeah, like, I thought I was gonna finish that off tonight, but we were ahead of schedule. Oh, we're here. Well, what if I talk to everybody? Okay, back into the manor. Well, we'll go right this time. Short way along the corridor running from the right-hand side of the terrace, we found an ancient-looking door again on our right. Dead quiet. Open the door. In we go. Kids stilled their breath and reached for the handle. Door was unlocked. It swung slowly open. What's this room supposed to be? Place is a dump. Kid poked her head in through the door, taking a quick peek to see if there was anyone inside. The room was large, littered with peculiar-looking machinery and knickknacks, all of which were covered in dust. And it seemed... Come on. Okay. The ends of the room were completely dark. It was impossible to tell how big it was, or even what the walls and floors looked like. It seemed the manor's inhabitants had turned the old clock tower into a makeshift storage space some time ago. Stepped warily inside. Leave that alone. Looked over towards Magil. Saw a kid trying to pull something from the shadows. Basically a heist movie, more or less. Yeah, that was kind of what happened. What Michael Mervyn said. I thought I was going to have to do another playthrough, but everything just sort of worked out at the end. You don't need that old bludgeon, it'll only get in the way. As much of an antique it is, won't fetch much on the market in that condition. Yeah, I reckon it might, you know. Plenty of collectors that love the old bits of junk. Some old bits of junk. The plot so far, we're trying to find the frozen flame. And that's basically just what we're doing right now. It was then that we heard a voice from the shadows. What exactly are you doing here, Just about jumped out of my skin. Who's there? Kid and Magil turned to face the voice, ready to fight. A wizened crone emerged from the shadows. She was hunched over and wore a hood draped over her face. Tell at a glance she wasn't just old, she was ancient. Some doddery old bag. What do you think you're doing sneaking up on us like that? Kid's shoulders relaxed as the tension left her body. Magil, however, continued to give the woman a piercing stare. Ooh, what an impish little thing you are. Here to visit a friend, perhaps? Not in the dead of night, I suspect. Hey, what's going on, Jeff B? I'm doing alright. Hope you're alright. The crone narrowed her eyes. Let's get a closer look at you. Ah, yes. You must be here to get your revenge on Lynx. How did she... My heart jumped. Seemed to know exactly who we were. We were in trouble. What if she sounded the alarm? We'd have to give up on the treasure and run for our lives. What were we gonna do? Play dumb. What's that? Don't know what you're talking about, lady. Kid did her best to play dumb, and she did it well, mind you. She never felt much shame about lying or deceit. I said, can you believe that anyone would be so foolish as to challenge the great Lord Lynx? That'd be out of their mind, ho ho ho. Doing good, excellent. But seriously, girl, you can't fool me, so don't try. Sense the sudden steeliness in her voice. At least I was pretty sure I did. Come clean. So what if we are? Kid narrowed her eyes back at the crone. What is it to you if we were here to get our revenge on old Lynxy boy? You gonna do something about it? You never change, do you? The crone chuckled madly, her small frame shaking. Boldness of youth. Yes, that's the spirit. You what? Kid looked at the crone completely confused, as no less mystified. What's going on, Volpe? What the heck are you on about? Oh, it must have been 4 or 5 years ago. Around then, an innocent young thief stole into the manor, looking to singe Lord Lynx's whiskers. Couldn't have been much older than 10, come to think of it. Shocked, my gaze turned to Kid. A wet glint had appeared in Kid's eyes, but her glare was like ice. Certainly felt as if the temperature in the room had suddenly dropped below freezing. With a chuckle, the crone continued her story, pretending not to have noticed the change in mood. She was an orphan, you know. Came after Lynx to avenge a woman who loved her like her own daughter. But all the vengefulness in the world couldn't change much for the fact she was only a little girl. She's no match for Lynx's men, sadly. And they quickly captured her. Lynx is the kind of man one would fear to have for an ally, never mind a foe. Had it not been for the timely assistance of a friend of hers, the girl would have simply been executed. The way the people of the manor told it, the very shadows pitied the girl, rushed in to spirit her away. I wonder how much of the tale could be true. Nothing but nothing but sympathy of destruction. For those who know failure, of course, you can't win all the time. Sometimes, against all odds, fate really can be foiled, and the clockwork of history sent into disarray. No, the ones I have no patience for are the ones who do not recognize their failure, or fail and choose to give up as a result. Crone looked up from under her hood and stared Kid directly in the face and grinned. Kid's anger faded, giving way to a dumbfounded expression. If you wish to steal the jewel from Lynx, you'll have to let go of a treasure of your own, Kid. For as long as you cling to it, the hands of your clock will never move. They'll stay exactly where they came to rest all those years ago. Who are you? Me, I'm an old hag, like you said. I do apologize. I must have taken up a lot of your time with all my babbling. I'll leave you in peace. Oh, before I go. You seem to be injured, young man. If you wish, I can take a look at your wounds. Could you? I didn't realize I was injured, but could you? Alright, then. Please do. Crone muttered a few words as her bony fingers drew sigils in the air. A pale, gentle light began to surround my body, filling me with a strange warmth. Strike a light. Strike a light, that's no ordinary spell. I felt my wounds healing. I heard a nostalgic melody that soothed the wounds in my heart. Before I realized that the crone was gone. Hey, lady. Kid strained her eyes, scanning the darkness. There was no one to be seen, and her calls went unanswered. Who the bloody heck was that? It looked like she'd woken up on the floor of the Laughing Pig after a few too many. What'd she mean about you having to let go of a treasure? Well, we won't find any answers here. Time to move on. Magil brought us back down to Earth, emotionless as always. It almost seemed as if nothing happened at all. Yeah, I guess you're right. Kid walked quickly to the door, keen to move on. I'm gonna... You stingy little bugger, USB port. Why didn't you tell her to share some of that healing magic with the rest of us? Classic kid. Ghost. Ruh-roh. Left and right. I guess we'll go... right. Continuing down the corridor, we came across a rather sturdy-looking door on our left. A little further on stood a stairway leading upward. Well, this door is clearly meant to keep something safe. There ain't some kind of treasure behind it. Me name ain't Kid. Sniff, sniff. Yep, that's the smell of cold hard cash. Alright. Went inside. Yeah. What am I, stupid? Of course it's locked. Kid tried opening the door a few times before giving it a grumpy kick. Bloody door's got a magic barrier on it. The bloody barrier's got a barrier of its own. Take more than me putting the boot to get through all that. Unless we find the key, we don't have a hope of getting inside. Reckon I can handle a key hunt, especially if it's that idiot Lynx who's hidden it. If I can find his room, I'll sniff it out in 2 seconds flat, just you watch. A little more we could do here, so we decide to look elsewhere. Yeah, good to see you too, real shit. Hope you're well. The corridor ended off at the foot of some stairs. Thank you, thank you. The corridor ended at the foot of some stairs. With Kid in the lead, we headed upwards. It was dark and the stairwell was narrow. We watched our footing carefully as we climbed. The stone of the steps was worn smooth with age. I lost count of how many there were as we spiraled onward and upward. An awful sense of foreboding haunted me. I had no idea why, but it felt as though we were marching to the gallows. When we arrived at the top of the stairs, we were greeted by an old heavy door looming in the silence. All was deathly silent, and the still, clammy air added to the sense of ominous apprehension. Something's very wrong here, I muttered without thinking. I hear cursed whispers from beyond the door, Magil added, doing nothing to lift the mood. Ah, grow up, will you? Kid shot back at us decisively. She was already examining the door. Derisively, I guess. Well, it ain't locked. I don't hear anyone inside. Alright, here goes. Kid tried the handle, the door opened, and with a slow, heavy swing, revealed what lay beyond. Yeah, it's kind of like a third... It's like a prequel, but it's not, like, directly connected, I guess. Small cylindrical room that appeared to be inside one of the stone towers. It was completely deserted and there were no windows. What's this supposed to be? Something about this place gives me the creeps. Still standing in the doorway, Kid seems suddenly taken aback. There might be something here, let's take a closer look. Closer look at a bloody empty room. Might as well, I guess. We did climb all them stairs. Kid stepped through the door, grumbling under her breath. Scanned the room, then noticed something on the floor. Flagstones were covered in dozens of narrow scratches, and in places, there were thick black stains. Something in the stains spoke of a horror that no amount of scrubbing would ever wash away. Malice and a sadness beyond imagining. Something written here. Crouching in front of a wall, Magil was inspecting some brownish markings that looked like more of the same stains. Someone carved letters into the wall and scrambled them using blood magic? Kid gone over to take a look. Looks pretty old. Hard to read, too. Some of it's been worn away. Let's see. Cannot hold out much longer. My only hope now is to leave the Acacian signet in this room. Suddenly, the door slammed shut. We jumped to our feet with a start. From above us, we heard an unsettling creaking sound. Walls and floor began to tremble. Oh no, we're fighting the ceiling. Kids darted out around the room as she desperately tried to figure out what was happening. Creaking sound from above continued. The ceiling moved ominously closer. Up there! Uh-oh. Oh, great. Well, what do I do about this now? That's not good. I'm dead. How am I not dead right now? We walked right into a bloody trap, Kid bit her lip. Gotta do something fast, we don't have time to stop and think about this. Smash down the wall. Good idea, there's gotta be a hidden door or something somewhere. Panicked, we tried thumping the walls to see what we could find. All we came up against was solid, unyielding stone. The edge of one of the descending blades sliced into my forehead. Ah, Jesus. What are we gonna do? Try to barge the door down, there's no way we're gonna stop the ceiling. Stop the ceiling. But how? I had no idea. Is there a hidden switch somewhere? Bashed our hands against the floors and walls and see if anything else had escaped our notice. Stabbed into my shoulder. Okay, I guess we're gonna barge the door down. Kid sprang at the door like an arrow, slamming its shoulder first. It was far too heavy and her light frame bounced right off. Well, what then? Magil raced towards the door like the wind, smashing into it with ferocious force. It made a creaking sound and shook from the impact, but stood firm. Desperately, I hurled myself at it too. The shock of the impact rushed through my body, but it was no good. Meanwhile, the rusty creaking from above continued, as did the ceiling's exonerable journey downward. To make matters worse, now countless blades were popping in and out. USB port, Magil, this is going to take 3 of us. Timing our blows, we all charged the door at once. Once, twice, and a third time. And the door was open and we were collapsed in a heap in the corridor outside. Behind us, we heard the sword of the bladed ceiling grinding on the stone floor of the tower room. The metallic scraping noise it made was awful. You can only look on silent horror at the fate we so narrowly evaded. The machinery continued for a short while, before slowly coming to a stop. It seemed the ceiling trap had finally finished its grisly work. Bugger me, talk about a nasty surprise. Is it some sort of execution chamber? Magil continued, seeming to be deep in thought. In any case, the writing mentioned Acacia. Yeah, what was that all about? The Acacia Dragoons. The elite knightly order serving General Viper, who once governed the territory of Gallusborg to the west. Former knightly order, I should say. They were wiped out more than a decade ago by the lord of this very manor, no less. Thanks for the history lesson, Mag. Kid rose to her feet, patting off the dust. Too bad we're not here for fairy tale nights. Come on, we got a lot more exploring left. Magil shrugged silently and we headed back to the stairs. There's seriously nothing there. I thought there was supposed to be something there. This is still bloody locked. Text adventures really make you realize what a game over is, yeah. Yeah, really. With these graphic, stressful depictions of getting killed, yeah. What if I go to the stairs again? You still want to go in there? Don't tell me the torture stuff isn't your thing, is it? I sighed and slumped my shoulders. Okay, it wouldn't let me back in. Hey, what's going on, J3? How you doing? Let's continue on. In we go. Oh, right, here again. Hello, any little old ladies in here? No kindly old ears to know more than they're letting on, lurking in the shadows? Oi, lady, show yourself. Waste of time. Alright. I guess go left down the corridor. Let's continue onward. Pass through the stairs and the side passage, emerge into the main corridor. Found ourselves in front of some ornate double doors. Okay, we haven't been here yet. Kid gently pushed the heavy doors open and peeked inside. Doesn't look like anyone's in there. Seemed to be the main hall of the manor. It's a massive table, beautiful decorations on the walls, thick columns decorated with sculptures of birds and beasts. Fixed to the wall in the back towered a tremendous pipe organ, like a burnished black mountain. Dozens of candles provided a dim flickering light, sending the corners of the room dancing in and out of shadow. Several enormous portraits glowed down from the high on the wall. Were these members of Lynx's family? I was busy staring at a painting depicting a young husband and wife when I realized that their eyes had turned to look right at me. Okay, they hadn't, don't worry. This isn't about to turn into some dumb ghost story. It just looked that way because of the way the flickering lights, the candles reflected against the glossy oil paints. Obviously, probably. This place gives me the creeps, and get a load of all these ugly mugs. Nothing for us here. Let's look somewhere else. Neither Magil or I had any objections. We left the hall and returned to the corridor. Suddenly, Kid stopped in her tracks. Something's here. Quickly looked around to see what it was. Nothing behind or in front of us. What could it be? And just as I was trying to figure it out, the wall began moving. A rectangular section opened up and swung around, revealing two enormous goblins clinging to the back. Like something from one of those stories about assassins sneaking around old castles. Oh, hi. You goblins? Screams Kid. They definitely look like goblins. Maybe a touch on the large side. You calling them fat? There were 4 in total, the 2 in front of us and 2 that had happened behind us, cutting off our path to escape. Magil rushed the 2 behind us. Meanwhile, Kid leapt at the 2 in front, holding her knife in both hands. I drew my knife and rushed to Kid's side. Crash! The spiked ball of the goblin's morning star smashed into the ground, crushing some of the stone flooring. Kid nimbly leapt up into the air, evading the attack, and landing on the goblin's exposed hand. She swung upward towards the goblin's head, plunging her knife into its left eye. Jesus. She then flipped backwards and stood ready for the next attack. That was Kid's style: float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. That sounds like somebody else I'm familiar with. Next goblin charged in, swinging his Morningstar at me. I jumped back. Don't copy Kid's thing. Jumped back to keep my distance for a moment. Thought about copying Kid's trick. I didn't have the confidence to pull it off. It's better off keeping an eye on my enemy and doing things my own way. I did wish I could fight like her. Goblin pulled the iron ball out of the floor and came at me, swinging it overhead. Dodged the attack and kicked it in the face, using the opportunity to plunge. Do that. Deflected the goblin's driving strike up towards the ceiling and aimed an almighty blow at its face with my foot. My momentum unbroken, I turned full circle in the air, landed perfectly back on my feet, immediately moving in to thrust my dagger deep into its chest. Kashunk! The blade sank up into the hilt. God, this is graphically described. What the hell? I leapt backwards. Oh what? Goblin grabbed me by the scruff of the neck and threw me bodily across the room. Slammed into the wall, then slid unceremoniously to the floor, wind completely knocked out of me. Still gasping for air when the creature's enormous form crashed unexpectedly to the ground beside me. Well, if you're gonna do that, why didn't you do it sooner, I thought. Through the pain. You're mistaken. Yeah, float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. It's a completely original saying. My mistake. I thank Magil for his timely intervention. Struth. You're a gutless wonder, USB port. Grumbled Kid. Business as usual had resumed, it seemed. Sometimes I really did despair. Would it hurt to have her offer a you hurt mate just once in a while? Only to mix things up for a bit. Hey, thank you, Sid. I'm a grown man, you know, I have feelings. But as ever, I only said it to myself. Trying to tell her that for real would have been a swift road to an early grave and nothing else. So I let her words wash over me and did my best to stay strong. Yeah, it's Struth. It's Struth, David. Taking a few knocks, but I was alright. A scrape or two wouldn't stop me. Maybe ain't such a drongo after all. Just to show, any old weirdo can make something of themselves if they put their mind to it. Kid's eyes glinted with mischief. Left the hall and returned to the corridor. Eventually it led us to an intersection. Stairs going down. Save it again. I guess go down the stairs. We'll go the right this time. Went down the stairs and took the passage to our right. Eventually we came across an ornate door on the right. Something smelled fresh and pleasant. Flowers? Go inside. Found ourselves in a tidy, welcoming room. The knickknacks and curios dotted around the place seemed to be well loved. The stately desk and the cozy-looking bed nearby, meanwhile, suggested the room's occupant was no stranger to luxury. Though the room was richly furnished, somehow it still felt awfully lonely. Kid took a quick look around before commenting. It's Lynx's girl's room. Half-written letter on the desk and a teacup. Still warm suggested that the lady of the manor was still nearby. But it didn't seem that anyone was here now. We decided to search the room. Some charming flowers, a discarded cotton handkerchief, a small bottle of perfume. Who's that in the background? Not that meant much to me, nor anyone else. Nothing else seemed particularly valuable. Kids seemed to have the same impression. Scanned the room clearly, not expecting to find anything. The only thing I noted was a small antique box, which bore a crest resembling a viper. Decided where to look next. Pick up a little box on the bookshelf. Gently opened the lid and was greeted by a soothing melody. Music box. Something about that song. Think this is Riddell. Okay. But could be mistaken. I know this tune. Kid was standing next to me. Could see something had changed in her expression. I don't know this tune. You do, huh, kid? Someone used to sing it to me a long time ago. She turned her gaze downward and went silent. Oh, yeah. No, never mind. Kid, startled, she turned to me. Her eyelashes glistened, as if wet with dew. She walked to the door, not saying a word. Hey, kid, wait up. I left the room. Was she crying? Was kid crying? Maybe I was just seeing things. Is there nothing else in that room? Passages outside the room continued to our left and right. Let's go deeper into the darkness. Eventually finding herself at a sturdy-looking, immaculately polished door. Kid sniffs at the air. Just as I thought, something stinks here. I think we found the beast slayer, lads. In the darkness, Kid's lips turned to a grin that turned my blood turned cold. We went inside. Kid opened the door and slipped inside. Yeah, ooh, whoa. Ooh, wow. Ooh, wow. It's Lynx's room, but he didn't seem to be around. Bugger's gone and scarpered because he heard I was coming. Something deeply unpleasant about this room. There wasn't anything unusual about the furniture and fittings. Not how they looked or how they were made, but taken as a whole, it all felt discordant. Was this a reflection of Lynx's seemingly ordinary facade that hid a disturbing truth only some could see? Right. I bet we'll find a key to the vault in here, or a clue where to find it. Started searching through the room. The desk drawers, the paintings on the wall, vase on top of the side table. Left no stone unturned. Didn't seem to be anything suspicious. But as I scanned the room, something unusual caught my eye. There was a pedestal in one corner with a significant-looking scarlet cloth drawn over it. Who's the narrator in this game? I think it is Serge. I'm not 100% sure, though. I slowly raised my hand over it. Carefully pulled the cloth away, revealing a mirror. Old-fashioned, and of an elaborately decorated style. I'd seen it before. And in it was reflected a statue of Venus. Suddenly the eyes of the statue shone with light. It looked at me, and it's talking to me. What is your desire? Sorry, USB... Yes, that's right. The mirror, it's speaking. Kid and Magil ran to my side. There's no need for panic, it's a whispering mirror, nothing more, said Magil flatly. What's one of those? A magic mirror in which a spirit dwells. A spirit can freely move between its own and other mirrors, and will share its wisdom with those who ask. What should I ask? I asked about Kid's measurements. Where's the key to the vault? Do you know where the key to the vault is? The mirror's reflection rippled and changed to reveal a room with numerous bookshelves. Deep sorrow's voice spoke. You'll find the key in the place I revealed in the study. It's inside a book. The purple cover in the furthest bookshelf from the door. Okay. The image of the study vanished from the mirror and the voice went silent. Appears the spirit is left for another mirror, commented Magil, to the study then. As I made to leave the room, a low voice rumbled through the air, stopping me dead in my tracks. Beware. He knows. Is that the voice of the mirror again? What did it mean? Hurry up or we're leaving you behind, USB port. Flustered, I rushed after her. Okay, let's go back up the stairs then. Yeah, sure. This is the room we were in already, right? Yeah. Although, can I look at other stuff in here? No. Or is this actually new? Let's come back later, okay. Towards the Atrium. Left turn the corridor, stairs going upwards. Towards the study, I think. Like, is this not where the mirror told me to go? Yeah, right, let's find this key. Light in her feet, as always, kid moved into the center of the room. Where'd the mirror say it was again? Asking me, how was I supposed to remember? Purple cover. Oh my god, really? Purple cover in the near bookcase. It's the one by the door. I think it's supposed to be with a purple cover in the nearest bookcase. So you can take my word for it, kid made for the case in question. Alright, this is the one, purple cover, purple cover. This has got to be it. Pulled out a book from the lowest shelf. Magil and I looked as she flicked through the pages. Her right eye narrowed like a cat's as she read through the arcane script, which meant nothing to me. The stricken Neo-Epoch was flung into stasis, making an emergency jump without deploying phase shift. Furthest from the door? I guess it was. Major engine damage. Output is at 30% of operating norms. 6 charges remaining in the anti-particle cannon. Shields effective in 16 sectors. Hellspin response in the starboard stern. Enemy vessel incoming. Godot, hurry with the awakening. Skirmishes, make ready for a last stand. The hell is this? It's got nothing to do with what we're looking for. Is this another one of your stupid jokes? As if I could have predicted what the book said. Where's the real book? Okay, well, it's the one that Michael Mervyn said. It's a purple cover, I remember that much. Hollowed, yeah, pages were hollowed out, and inside was an old key decorated with strange symbols. Nailed it. Nice one, USB port. Kid snatched the key from inside the book. I'm guessing if you screw up too many times, like it's not good, someone finds you. Time to get a look at this treasure. We got what we came for, we left for the study. I forget what the key's even for. Let's go back down the stairs. Let's go back to that room again. Because I don't remember. One of the books probably has poison gas that kills you. Yeah, in graphic fashion. What, is Lynx here? I followed after panicking. Looked around to see no one else but us. Where is he? Just staying there, not in any danger at all. It was a joke, idiot. All the strength drained from my body. Thought I was serious, did you? Chuckled kid, try not to laugh too loud. Bet you wish you were living the easy life rather than trapezing around after me, huh? Your face. In order and walked over to the mirror draped with the red silk cloth. Hi there, sorry about all the noise. Statue of the Venus in the mirror giggled back at me. It's quite alright, USB port. What's your desire? Gamer Husky Alto. Thought I'd check up on you since I was here. You mustn't say such things, your friends will become envious. You what? Said kid, her voice completely flat. Why would I be envious? Please, there's no need to get upset, I have a gift for you. Oh yeah? Well, one might call it that. Thought you might be interested to see what it's like inside the mirror. So you're inviting us to the realm of mirrors? Kid's interest was suddenly piqued. Won't take up much of your time. Come, kid, step inside. The surface of the mirror rippled like water. Key for the treasure room, okay. Kid reached out her hand towards the glass and hesitated. She deliberated for a moment before finally pulling it back. You go first, USB port. You're her favorite. Are you sure? Kid nodded, and with excitement I pressed my hands to the mirror. The surface was like cool water on my fingertips. No, USB port, you mustn't. Suddenly cracks formed in the glass. I gasped. What's happening? The statue in the mirror was weeping. You wish you weren't so trusting. You forgot that I serve Lynx. What? I meant to trap you and your friends. Cracks in the mirror grew bigger, splintering off into more and smaller cracks. That's not all. I foresaw your coming long ago and warned Lynx of it. But why? You're imprisoned here by Lynx, weren't you? Sighed Magil. The statue of Venus nodded mournfully. Sealed the path to mirrors beyond, preventing me from leaving the manor. Were someone to shatter all the mirrors within the manor walls, I would be doomed. I would vanish, separated from my siblings forever. Eventually the statue raised its head. But I cannot stand to be at his mercy anymore. The cracks deepened further. Shards of glass began to fall to the floor. I can't let you do this, I yelled, grabbing the mirror frame with both hands. This is what I want. Lynx will not suffer me to live after betraying him, said the image in the mirror, looking at me. But why are you trying to help us? Will that be your final question, USB port? Something in its voice felt like the trace of a smile. Very well, the truth is I am your father. But then, the mirror split from top to bottom. The image's lips moved gently, but no words came. I tried to scream, but I could do little more than whimper. Took a shard of glass from the floor and gripped it tightly in my hand. USB port? Behind me, Kid was softly calling my name. Gave a slight nod and slowly turned around. Let's go. As we left the room, I turned to look back one last time, my eyes coming to rest on the remains of the mirror. Never been able to hear her voice again. Turned again and left the room. Okay, let's make it back up the stairs. Stairs going upwards. Main hall, I guess. Oh. Man stuck his tongue out at me. I'm seeing things again. Look that way because all the lights were flickering. I mean, that could totally happen, right? Definitely. Maybe. This place gives me the creeps, and I get a load of these ugly mugs. Nothing here. Let's leave. Okay. Do a way into the clock tower. Open the door. In we go. Oh. Yes. Maybe if I go back on the terrace, they'll explain what I should be doing. Well, there's either that place I can go with the piranhas. Well, I think that's the only place I haven't gone yet. This should do it. There we go. Kid slipped the key we found into the lock. Lines of magical light flashed across the surface of the door and vanished as various magical barriers were displayed. Up, down, left, right, blue, red, green, every color under the sun. And all was quiet and the darkness of the manor returned, just with the key. The creak, the heavy door, gently swung open. As soon as I saw what was inside, I gave a gasp. Whoa, we hit the mother lode. Oh, did we ever. Out of the darkness loomed a veritable mountain of gold, silver, priceless works of art, and exquisite trinkets. Kid looked as if she were on the verge of drooling at the sight of it all, but what thief wouldn't have been? After all, this is the kind of hoard that few people would ever come across in their lifetime. The smallest fraction of this massive mound of riches would have seen even the most careless spendthrift set for life. Our goal's the frozen flame, ignore the rest. Magil spoke with an icy dedication to our mission. Not even batted an eyelid at the sight that greeted us. Yeah, I know. She was disappointed, of course, but as soon as she set about scanning the room for the object of her hunt, I'm gonna save it again. Is that it? Look on the pedestal over there. Turn to see what Kid was pointing at. Is that the thing in the thumbnail? Yeah, that's the thing in the thumbnail, alright. I know, right? Yeah, I was thinking, like, are they gonna say the Konami code here? Wonder if this game is randomized or something. This map seems a bit different than the one I had. I don't know, maybe it is. I have no clue. Is that it? On the pedestal over there? Trying to see what kid was pointing at. There it was, a small yet perfectly formed jewel that gave off a pale red light. A jewel that looked like a flickering fire suspended in time. The frozen flame. Silently, Magil walked towards the pedestal I called out. We have to be careful. You're right, this is Lynx we're dealing with after all. May very well be trapped. Should be on our guard. We need to be quick about this, but fine, have it your way. Magil examined the pedestal for a short while, then paused. You were wise to be cautious. Placing his left hand on the base of the pedestal, he muttered an incantation, drawing quick sigils in the air with his right hand. Some glyphs appeared on its smooth surface and for a moment blazed brightly. Hey, Philippe. The song is great with the SNES. Sound fit. Magil calmly reached out and grabbed a hold of the red jewel. Dun da da da. Dun da 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 da. Like, that's probably a sound I should recognize. USB port and friends obtained the frozen flame. Phew, we managed to get what we came for without anything horrible happening. I breathed a sigh of relief and turned to Magil. He was staring silently at the jewel in his hands. Magil, we did it. Let's get at it. Before I could finish, the frozen flame crumbled to dust. This flame was a fake. Lynx must be keeping the real one somewhere safe. Suddenly a siren rang out. The room was flooded with light. Metal bars slammed down in front of the door. Turned with a gasp to see Kid frozen, an ornate crowd in her hands, and a wide-eyed look of awkward shock on her face. Dun da 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 da. Kid and friends obtained a golden crown, too. You're kidding me, right? You had to go, and... You complete bonehead? I let it rip with a stream of choice insults. In my head, that is. Metallic parrots in the four corners of the room suddenly came to life, flapping their wings and screeching. Rark, thieves, thieves. We're in trouble. These things are going nowhere, said Magil, inspecting the bars covering the door. Although to look at them, you wouldn't have thought there was anything wrong. Which way? Which way? The parrots to the vault, to the vault. We heard voices in the distance. The Manor guards were coming. Hey, X-Hunter, how've you been? Kid died behind a pile of gold coins. Find somewhere to hide. In a panic, I looked around the room. There's a large chest sitting wide open next to a pillar. I rushed to empty it out, then plunged in head first and closed the lid. It was a mimic. Game over. Captain! There's no sign of anyone in there. No sign. Strange, peculiar. No one's ever escaped before. None had ever fled the mousetrap's clutches. None. Gently pushed up the lid of the chest and peeked through the gap. There were 5 goblins wearing suits of armor unlocking the gate and about to make their way inside. One of the goblins looked around the room, jerking its neck as it peered about the shadows. Captain, what if it actually was a mouse this time? Chef was grumbling about mouses the other days, Captain. A mouse, a rodent, a rat? Would a teeny tiny thing like that really have sprung the trap? Replied a stocky, plump-looking goblin. It must have been the captain. He didn't seem convinced. That was when I heard a strange but oddly familiar sound from a corner of the room. Squeak, squeak. It was coming from where Kid was hiding. Startled, the troop of goblins stopped and looked at each other. For a moment, none of them spoke. Eventually, the goblin captain rubbed his chin through his jowls and offered his thoughts. Mouses. I'm sure Chef was complaining about cats. Meow. Meow. That voice again. Again silence. Goblins only looked at each other. Funny you should say that, Captain. The way I heard it, it weren't mouses or cats. It was a hecarim. An awkward silence followed. Yeah, what sound does a hecarim make? Right, yeah, in my mind's eye I could see Kid racking her brains to work out what a hecarim was. Smell a rat. By which I mean a thief. Following the captain's lead, the guards reached for their weapons, and then... Heck. Heck, heck, heck. Hecka, heck, heck. Hecka, heck, heck. Ran, hecka, ran. Listen, it really is a hecarim by heck. That proves it. The goblin's guards grinned and nodded to each other. Cheeky little devil. Surprised me there. Let's get out of here, boys. Goblins fled from the vault. Breathed a sigh of relief. Good thing goblins are stupid. And then they came charging back in with a mighty roar. There's no such thing as hecarims. That's not true. You sneaky little buggers, roared Kid, leaping up from behind the pile of gold coins. You're one to talk, thief. Brandishing their weapons menacingly, the goblins moved slowly forward, forcing Kid into a corner. Quietly eased open the lid of the coffer and slipped out. Can't leave you anywhere, can I muttered to myself. I knew Kid could handle herself. I didn't fancy your odds against a whole troop of heavily armed goblins. For a moment I wasn't sure what to do, but then I made up my mind. I have to save Kid. No way I was going to abandon a friend in need. Even if it meant facing off against a group of 5 goblin guards. Find a way to come out on top, I hope. Drew the knife from my belt and leapt into the middle of the room. Hey, snot for brains is over here. Goblins all turned to look at me at the same time. 10 beady, cruel little eyes all staring daggers at me. Fool in a hurry to die, are we? I gulped and wondered if making a run for it might have been a better plan of action after all. Humans are so stupid, the goblin captain chuckled and licked his teeth. Someone's got a death wish, alright. Why else would he be so stupid to come after Lord Lynx's treasure? That's a first. Being called dumb by a bloody goblin. Try acting tough when you're crying to your mum later on. Judging by Kid's response, she wasn't feeling massively threatened. Can you tell her it was Kid who kicked your teeth in? So you're a kid, are you? Sneaky, slippery little thief we've heard so much about. Goblin narrowed his eyes. Lord Lynx will be thanking me from now until my retirement when I bring him your head on a silver platter. Goblin captain pulled his morning star from his waist and started swinging. You know what you're messing with. We ain't no ordinary goblin, sweetheart. We're Lord Lynx's elite guard. The Gob Squad. I'll quit shooting your mouth off. Let me stick a boot in it. And with that, Kid launched into a lightning-fast spinning kick. Her boot connected with the side of a goblin's head with a crack, sending the creature tumbling to the ground. Get him, lads. Boy looks scrawny. Start with him. Goblin captain spun the heavy metal ball of his morning star in the air. Glorious gob strike. Aye aye. Goblins charged across the room in response to their captain's command. Gob strike incoming. Dodge. Swiftly dodged the attack. The morning star brushed past my cheek. I don't know how, but I managed to escape unscathed. Lost my balance though and fell clumsily to the floor. Magil conjured up a black wind, which surged forth like a shearing tempest. How does a human know a spell like that? Who are you? The goblin was quickly silenced as the rushing winds tore through it. It collapsed to the floor with a final shriek. Yeah, glorious gob strike. Yeah, best line. Another goblin flew down from overhead. Bombs away. The growl, it sent its morning star swing from above. Better off attacking than trying for a clumsy dodge, I tackled the goblin head-on. It bounced helpfully off its enormous rock-like body, smashing head-first into the floor. The shock of the impact jolted through my body. Magil conjured up a black wind again. I guess I dodge again. This is what happened last time. Do I just dodge repeatedly? That's the vibe I'm getting. Roll away again. Yeah, the morning star crashed into the flagstone, sending sparks flying. That was a close shave. I made good my escape by rolling further, clumsily putting some distance between myself and my attacker. Gob strike incoming. Dodge some more. Morningstar slammed on my shoulder. Oh, writhed in agony, at the same time trying not to lose sight of where the next blow might be coming from. Spirit scrawn bag, ain't done with you yet. Long live Lord Lynx, glory to the Gob Squad. These final words, the goblin collapsed. That was the last of them. I made it. If I ever get to heal, I'll need to do that. I guess I should have left that healing lady until I needed her. Piece of cake, said Kid, putting a brave face on things as she wiped the sweat from her brow with her arm. Then she stopped and looked at me. USB port? What were you thinking, you great dongo? Getting the goblins to come after you like that? Really didn't have to, you know. Still, thanks. Can't say I'm happy to see your crazy arse jump like that. She was actually smiling at me. Kid's smile kinda kindled a light inside me, and with it a peculiar warmth that came in ripples. What's going on, anime girl? Save the chatter for later, we can't waste any more time here. Frozen flame must be somewhere in the manor. Right, mate, thanks for stating the obvious. It's not my bloody fault that Link says to make things so bloody difficult for everyone. Kid spun her on her heel and made a sulky face for the door. Suddenly her attention returned to the pile of defeated goblins. Drongo said they're Link's elite guard, right? But they got some nice loot on him. With that, she started unceremoniously rummaging through the fallen captain's pockets. Yeah, there's kind of like HP. I don't know how many HP. But it heals you too. We got healed earlier. Hello, what's this? She found an odd metal plate. It resembled an open hand and was covered in runes. Reckon this might open some other magic door somewhere. Never know when this might come in handy either. Finders keepers. Plate vanished in the kid's pocket. There's nothing else worth taking, unless you count pocket lengths and bits of string. Rose to her feet and looked around the room. You know, it's a real shame to leave the rest of all this loot just sitting here unloved. Suppose we can come back for it whenever. Kid turned to face him and flashed a grin. Alright lads, get a move on. Ain't gonna be dark forever. Hand-shaped plate is our only clue for now, muttered Magil, seemingly to himself. And with that we left the vault in search of the real frozen flame. Okay, I want to go back to the terrace. This isn't the terrace. Went out onto the terrace. Did they say anything new? Night all, got a jet. Okay, thanks for the stream, Herb. Yeah, no problem, Michael Mervin. Thanks for stopping in. You have yourself a good one. Okay, now, I don't know, maybe I can go to that piranha room now. Let's go down the stairs. Well, before I go to the piranha room, let's go to the other rooms. Just in case I can use that plate in here. Does plot have any obvious relevance to the Chrono games other than a few of the same characters? I'm really not sure. Oh, let's go to the Atrium now. I'll just, when the place starts to fill up, I'll just leave this time. Unless there's other stuff I can do in here that I forget about. Piranodons. Okay, so let's get out of here. Because not getting out of here, I died last time. Rush back the way we came. Especially the water back to the corridor we came from. Okay, well, I took a damage, but... That was a close call. That whole thing was a trap, huh? Talk about twisted. Link's even more of a sick bastard than I thought. About to say it wouldn't have to be if you didn't have to guard against his people, like her breaking into his home. But I thought better of it. At any rate, I think we can consider that a dead end. Let's go back. Something caused Kid to stalk on her tracks. What do we have here? She pointed to the side of the entranceway to the hall. Found myself face to face with a sculpture in an old man's face, with a truly phenomenal beard. Is it me? Is it just a picture of me? I think so. The sculpture's eyes seemed to gleam with life. For a piece of marble, it seemed almost too realistic. It's a mouth of truth, announced Magil. An enchanted statue that can tell when you're lying. If it catches you out, it'll bite your hand off. Magil kept his explanation simple so the kid wouldn't drift off before he got to the important part. So what's it doing here, then? I suspect it's part of a greater mechanism. Stick your hand at Scob, do you? Righto, let's see what happens, shall we? With a mischievous glint in her eye, Kid darted over and stuck her hand at its mouth without a moment's hesitation. She stood there for a moment waiting, but it didn't take long for her to get bored. Ah, nothing. Suddenly I had an idea. Hey kid, who's the greatest thief to have ever lived? Me, of course, you drong. Kid answered without a moment's hesitation, but then suddenly her face twisted with pain. Teeth of the marble sculpture had clamped down on her hand. It bit me, she cried. Knock it off, everyone knows it's the truth. Ow! Sculpture bit her again as soon as she spoke. You little... A cold sweat formed on Kid's forehead. The sculpture was tightening its grip. It won't let go until you say something true. Despite the fact of the obvious urgency of the situation, Magil was matter of fact as ever. Hey, thank you, real shit. Just say anything, Kid. Anything, as long as it's the truth. Obviously, Kid wasn't listening. Instead, she just kicked awkwardly at the statue. Oi, Beardy, let go of me bloody hand. It probably would be bloody by now. She planted her feet on either side of its mouth and tried her hardest to pull herself out. She heaved, kicked, stamped, grunted, strained. Then finally her hand popped free. I was taken aback by what I just witnessed and couldn't say a word. See, told you it was the truth. Kid raised her hand in the air triumphantly, as if to demonstrate. I could see heavy bite marks. The sculpture hadn't come away unscathed either. Kid's attempt to break free had left it cracked in several places. Magil pointed silently at part of it. I went to take a closer look and saw a pale, flesh-colored tongue. I suspect we're supposed to put something there, commented Magil. Something? What exactly? Kid stood there for a moment, lost in thought. Then she started to unload all the knickknacks she'd been carrying. Strange collection of odds and ends, pulled out from her pockets, her boots, even from her braid. Right, USB port, now it's your turn to have a go at that stupid statue. Kid grinned at me, holding her assortment of knickknacks out in the palms of both hands. Guess she decided whatever further horrors the statue had in store, she'd rather not face them herself. Nice kid. Real nice. Grumbling to myself, I reached out to pick an item. I chose... a small silver mirror. I presume the hand-shaped plate. Took the hand-shaped metal plate we found. After taking another look at the runes, I was no closer to working out what they might mean. Here goes nothing. I stuck the plate into the mouth of the truth's marble maw. As soon as I did so, its eyes rolled upward and the wall gave a light judder. Low rumbling sound came from the sculpture's mouth. This, right now, I'm playing it on PS4, but it was originally for the Super Nintendo. Back in like 96, but it was only in Japan. This indeed is the ultimate truth of the universe. Do you hear something? Watch the mouth of truth in confusion. Its great marble tongue lolled out, lol, almost like a steak. Lol. Coiled around the plate, seizing it and pulling it deep inside. What's going on? In a panic, I looked at Magil for answers. It seemed this ineffable truth of the universe had left even the mouth of truth tongue-tied. Magil answered in his usual deadpan manner. I think he might have even been trying to make a joke. Hang on to the plate thingy revealed the truth of the universe? Yeah, you might be able to find it on an SNES emulator. It wasn't originally, like, translated, so you'd probably have to find, like, a translation patch on top of it. You went and crammed it down Beardy's gullet. Do you realize how much we could have sold that for? Kid kicked the floor in frustration and snapped her fingers. Then drains on all sides of the room suddenly opened wide. Red water formed eddies as it sank away. Helpless, the piranodons were washed away with the current. Oh, okay. Soon only trickles of water were left, slowly dripping away. That's a stroke of luck, ain't it? Guess we won't be sleeping with the fishes tonight, grinned Kid, looking at the empty pool. Across the drained room, making for the exit on the other side, pressed on. Suddenly, Kid stopped in her tracks. Something's there. Quickly looked around to see what it was. Nothing behind us or in front of us. Where could it be? Then, just as soon as I was trying to figure it out, the wall began moving. A rectangular section opened up and swung around, revealing two enormous goblins clinging to the back. Did I not do this part this time around? I guess I didn't. You goblins. They definitely look like goblins. They may be a touch on the large side. Okay. Anyway. Stabbed it in the eye. Don't do what she did. Jump back. I must have died before I did this last time. Goblins are like random encounters. Maybe they do just happen at somewhat random. Oh, I'm supposed to react there. That's what... kind of odd. I'm worried I'm gonna die soon, because I've taken a fair bit of damage, but... not sure how that works. Leather bag on the ground. Oh, containing some recently cooked meat. Lucky me, I bit into the meat without a moment's hesitation. Oh. Felt a little better. Oh, we got a little bit of health back. Okay, cool. Oi, where's my share? Busted. I pretended not to hear. Doing great. I felt like nothing could stop me. Maybe I'm such a drongo after all. I guess, good enough that happened. Left or the right? Oh, well, let's go left. Old, sturdy-looking door. Another bloody door with a bloody magic barrier on it. Wonder what's inside. My sixth sense tells me it ain't treasure. Suspect this is the Manor's dungeon. I hear the sound of someone moaning in the darkness on the other side. Nothing we can do, as it's of little concern to us now. Let's turn back. Kid stopped in her tracks, signaling to us with a hand behind her back. She drew her knife and stared into the darkness. I heard the clinking of metal from up ahead. Goblin guards. Wasn't likely there'd be anyone else going for a nighttime stroll. Suggested a tactical retreat. How about a tactical boot up the arse instead? Never gonna get good thieving if you keep acting like a bloody chicken. Having rejected my suggestion, kids seemed to take great pleasure in putting it in the boot for good measure. They won't know what hit him, she shouted, leaping into battle. Caught on the back foot, I fumbled with my knife. They've been well looked after in this palatal manor. They've grown to be even bigger than Magil. Each of them is carrying a Manor Goblin trademark. Each of them was carrying the Manor's Goblin's trademark, a morning star consisting of a rod and a heavy spiked iron ball in a chain. Or is it a flail? I could never remember. I didn't have time to think much more about it. Yeah, what is it? A mace is the one that's on a stick. The other ones have some sort of chain. Come back to evade the attack. Stab the goblin through the back with its weapon's hand. Goblin's face contorted with pain as it dropped the morning star. I knew that going for its hand would be more effective than trying to land a good hit in its fleshy, porcine body. Move the goblin's foot. Went for a knife in its arm, grew through my knife. Is that? Just kill it. Thought it was all over, but then something hit me hard in the stomach, sending me flying. The goblin leered at me as it drew it up to its full height. My knife was still buried deep in its chest, and thick drops of blood fell to the floor. How could it survive, much less still be standing? Suddenly its giant frame wobbled, fell to one knee, and then sank to the floor. Exhausted, I panted for breath. Finally got a notch in your belt, huh? Taunted kid coming to my side. I wanted to say something, but I was too exhausted. Taking a few knocks, but I was alright. Scraper 2 wouldn't stop me. He's such a drongo after all. I have a flail. A mace is just a heavy weight on a stick. Yeah, Morningstar is a flanged mace, yeah, where the head is spiked. Or split in blades. Blades, like a star. I continued straight on, I guess. Go down the stairs. Let's go left. Above the door is a wooden plate that bore the legend guard room in elaborate calligraphy. I reckon this might be where we find the key to the door upstairs. No getting past that bloody magic barrier without it. Doesn't sound like anyone's in there. Go inside. There's a lone goblin inside who was sitting in a chair with a book in its hand. Light steam drifted from the teacup on the table in front of it, and with it a delicate aroma. Is it healing tea? Goblin peered at us curiously over its spectacles. Something different about this one. Could tell as much at a glance. Heavens, how rare it is to have guests. Heavens, how well spoken for a goblin. I can only feel dread and suspicion at the sight of him, though. Sorry, mate, but we're not guests. Cough up the key to the dungeon if you want to live. The kid slammed her knife into the table to illustrate her point. The goblin didn't so much as flinch. Ah, you must be Kid. What a pleasure this is. Always wanted to meet you. You're even more ravishing than the rumors. Before the goblin could finish, Kid's knife flew through the air. A quick flick of his wrist, the goblin caught the blade with the back of his book, a mere inch from his face. So your approach is as radical as the name of your merry band would suggest, the goblin said. Just getting to the good part, too. Oh well, I suppose I'll have to give up on ever finishing that book now. Goblin casually flung the book over his shoulder and into a nearby bin. Allow me to introduce myself. I am Grimsmeld, and I am on the guard on watch. No need to stand, please. Do take a seat. You're welcome to tea, of course. Don't forget the lard, too. If I may. Look to Kid. Sit next down to Magil. I decided to trust Magil's instincts and took a seat next to him. He had some kind of plan in mind, I was sure of it. The kid didn't look like she'd be pulling up a chair anytime soon. She was standing with her arms crossed, eyeing the goblin suspiciously. The goblin poured 3 cups of tea. Here you are. Without the slightest hint of hesitation, Magil took his teacup and lifted to his lips. He sipped, then placed the cup back on his saucer. Heel Malayan tea. Not a blend I'd expect to find here. What a pleasure it is to encounter a fellow connoisseur. It's a rare blend. One mainly enjoyed by the noble classes. Couldn't believe the conversation I was hearing. But also couldn't help wondering what this rare tea might taste like. My eyes rested on the cup that had been poured for me. Couldn't shake the fear that it might be poison, but I also couldn't ignore how delicious it smelled. Before I knew it, the cup was in my hands. This is great, I blurted out. Never had such a delicious brew in my life. My aches and pains faded away. Nice. You could even see the steam from the cup, not being enveloped by that blue effect. I glanced over at Kid who was blowing manically at the liquid in her cup. Forgotten she was paranoid about burning her mouth on things. Now that we're comfortable, let's get down to brass tacks, as they say. I do indeed have the dungeon key, as you surmised. You'll also be aware I can't just give it to you. Typical, she wasn't listening to a word Grimswald was saying. Still huffing and puffing at her tea. Seemed to be up to me to respond. Give us the key, you get to live. I suppose that means you want something in return. You know what I want? I want your heads. Grimswald's eyes. Or rather, I'm sure that's what my employer would have me say, but no. I have no such barbarous aspirations. Furthermore, I doubt I'd be a match for you. Grimsmeld chuckled as he said this. What I live for is the joy of the conversation, which I fear my compatriots are ill-equipped to supply. Perhaps you might have one or two ripping yarns to share. Grinning, he added, I'm sure thieves such as yourselves must have a few thrilling tales up your sleeves. So he wanted to hear a story that seemed more than fair for a price to pay for a key. Closed my eyes and thought, I know just the story. How did it begin? One night a young girl was walking alone in the forest, and then... she was searching for a golden sunflower, the only way to cure her mother's sickness. Then, poor girl went without food for 3 days and 3 nights. Fragments I remembered seemed about right. There's only one way the story could end. I took a breath and began my tale. One night a young girl was walking alone in the forest. She was searching for a golden sunflower, the only way to cure her mother's illness. Poor girl went without food for 3 days and 3 nights, and then, in her moment of darkest despair, she saw a brilliant light. None other than the golden sunflower, she thought. The young girl gratefully pocketed the sunflower seeds. These will surely save my mother, she thought. It was all a dream. With a smile on her face, the girl drifted off and dreamed forevermore. That was beautiful, murmured Kid, wiping a tear from her eye. Grimswell frowned. Not quite what I was expecting. Not the most riveting of tales, but I suppose it will do. The key, as promised. Took it from Grimsmeld's hand. Something didn't seem right, though. Was he really going to give it up so easily? Was it really alright to trust such a strange goblin? Grimswald seemed to notice my suspicion. He leaned back into his chair, looking at the ceiling. When I was a young tyro, a braver, stupider goblin, once served General Viper, was the lord of this manor until he betrayed Lord Lynx. Betrayed by Lord Lynx. Despite my boorishness, Lady Riddell always saw something in me worthy of praise. Wait, Riddell? Lynx's adopted daughter? What's she got to do with anything? Oh, you didn't know? Riddell's real father's none other than General Viper himself. Lord Lynx spared Lady Riddell's life, so as to not snuff out that of the frozen flame. It's an uncanny stone, you see. It's a life of its own. Some kind of spiritual bond with Lady Riddell. If only there was some way I could free Milady from this manor. Alas, I am powerless to do any such thing. Of course, I would have no qualms if, say, you were to topple the usurper. I assume you intend to. Slay the old beast, I mean. It's a strange inquiry to make so casually. I mean, well, if it comes to it. It's more than a little taken aback by the directness of Grimswald's question. Never expected to find one of Lynx's own guards asking me something like that. Hey, Craig, what's going on? How have you been? Suddenly I was shoved aside. Not if it comes to it. We're gonna kill him tonight. And kill him good. In exchange, I'll have more of that tea to take with us. Kid held out her hand before Grimsmeld could offer an answer. Suppose I have a bag I can share. Grimsmeld shuffled awkwardly in his seat as he retrieved it. As ever, I was impressed at how Kid's uncompromising attitude and willingness to speak her mind seemed to always get her what she wanted. Boneser, sit tight and leave the rest to me, mate. Stowing the bag in her pocket, Kid took the job. You can trust me, I'm a girl, me word. Nice to be back. Yeah, good to have you back, Craig. Life is good. Alright, let's get moving. She made for the door with a spring in her step. We left the room and Grimsmeld behind. Is this not where I just came from? Oh, blimey, this is a small kitchen. Core, blimey, it must be for the servants, commented Magil. Scanned her surroundings. Basin for washing dishes, cooking utensils, some food made for tomorrow, and a mousetrap. Look like any other commoner's kitchen. I should save again because we just healed. Kid walked over to a large pot, filled with food, and peered inside. Looks like tomorrow's lunch. Want to try some? I respectfully declined. Made my excuses politely as I could. Kid clicked her tongue in disappointment. Alright then, you want some, Madge? No. Yeah, visual novel. Yeah, exactly. Radical Dreamers. Fine, if you're afraid to try it, I ain't touching it either, she said, turning her back on the pot. Suddenly a voice rang out. You there, the young man with the braid. Kid froze. Who are you calling a bloke? Kid barked angrily in the direction the voice was coming from. Mouse was looking at us with eyes like saucers. On the inside of the mouse track hanging from the wall in the corner of the room. I'm sorry, you're a young lady, I see. The mouse bowed its head in apology. Please, kind young lady, you must hear me out. The mouse put its paws together and started pleadingly at Kid. Left the nest to find food for me, Mum, but as you can see, I managed to get myself caught. If you leave me here, I'll surely be eaten by goblins. Kid eyed the little creature suspiciously. I beg you, please free me from this trap. My mother's sick and should be terribly worried about what has come of me. The mouse was clearly begging for its life, but there was also an odd little glint in its eye. Kid shrugged and sighed. Fine, I guess we can't just leave you to rot. Hold still, let's get you out of here. She lifted the trap down on the floor and opened the door. The mouse bounded happily from inside. The mouse gave a wicked chuckle. You poor naive fool. Suddenly its body began to balloon massively inside. It sighs. I had no say in the matter here. A griffin? I didn't know griffins were mice, but okay. I guess they are. The enormous creature stared balefully down at us. Idiot humans. My mother's not sick, but yours will be when she sees what I've done to you. Dirty little swine, after all I'd done for you. The kid's face was red with anger. Griffin gave an almighty cry and leapt right at us. His razor-sharp talon sliced through the air, raking down towards me. Jumped away with a backstep. Blow never came as the griffin suddenly lost its balance. Oh, it came crashing to the ground. Oh bother, I'm too hungry to even fight properly. What on earth? Breathed a sigh of relief, running a hand down my chest. Alright, little mouse. Now's the time for the real show to begin. Kid walked up to the griffin, cracking her knuckles. Gulp? Please, kind young lady, this is all a misunderstanding. Panicking, the creature leapt to its feet. You can't kill me, I have useful information. Let me go, I promise to tell you everything I know. Yeah, I know how much a promise from the likes of you is worth. Kid took another step towards the griffin, not skipping a beat. Rock, please? Kid kept on coming. Griffin kept shrinking away. Enough! Magil called for Kid to stop. Let's hear it. Thank you, kind sir. The griffin was beside itself with relief. Spoil my fun, why don't you? Grumbled Kid, pouting as she turned away. Listen well, O merciful savior. Right thrice, left twice, right twice. Should you find yourself trapped in one of Link's swirling snares, remember my word. There's no way I can remember that. Right 3, left 2, right 2. Maybe I can remember, I don't know. Right 3, left 2, right 2. With that, the griffin returned to its mouse-like form and disappeared into a small hole in the wall. Trapped in Link's snares? As if I'd be thick enough to walk into one of his traps. Let's get out of here. We've wasted enough time already. Kid turned on her heel and made for the door. R3, L2, R2. Thank you, folks. He left the kitchen. Preserved in chat. Okay, in case we forget. Thank you. I think we can just go up now. I want to go back to the guard room, though, because I don't remember what the deal was here. Oh, yeah. Let's go back inside for the hell of it. Hello again. Okay, up the stairs. Oh. What was that? See a paint-wild bundle of something shaking in the shadows. That's strange. I moved in front of Kid to try to get a better look. Strange presence started crawling across the floor towards an unbelievable speed. I didn't have time to brace myself. The white figure reached my foot and then reared up to its full height. This game looks incredible. It was a skeleton. Oh my goodness. Yeah, for the SNES, yeah, the graphics that are in it are good. Skeleton and I stood face to face, its empty eye socket staring at me, or seeming to at least. What was I gonna do? Assess the situation. Skeleton swooped over and leered at me. I was stunned by the strangeness of the gaze coming from the two black pits of its skull, and then leapt at me before I could react. I let out a scream. Its ribs loomed up in front of me. I shoved hard with both hands, desperately trying to loosen the firm hold it had taken on my head with both arms. I sent it crashing to the ground. It clattered to the floor in a pile of jumbled bones. Then I noticed its head was nowhere to be seen. USB poured your hood. I reached up to start to find the skull. It clamped onto my hood with its teeth. Well, it was on like the Satellaview. It was like an SNES thing. Tore off my hood. Panic, I tried to pull out my hood, my hands refused to cooperate, and I could only flap my hands at the skull uselessly. That's when I heard Magil snap at me. Stand still! Crack. The head exploded with stars as Magil's foot slammed into the back of my head. I gasped, and for a moment I thought I was going to pass out. The skull, meanwhile, shattered to pieces like an eggshell. Bits of broken bones scattered down from the top of my head. The rest of the skeleton froze mid-charge and then fell apart. The bones lay motionless on the floor. Nice one, Mag. Yeah, thanks. You didn't have to kick me in the head, though. We're finished here. Let's get moving. Ow. Wait a second. What's that? There's a leather bag on the ground. Containing some meat. Lucky me, I bit into the meat without a moment's hesitation. Alright. I'm going to assume I'm full health right now, but I don't really know. Can you actually die? Yeah, like... You don't die terribly easy to the wrong choices, but if you make the wrong choices and take enough damage, you'll die. Okay, let's go up the staircase. I think I want to go towards the cell. Got the key, right? Yeah, we got the key from the creepy old goblin. That should do the trick. The heavy door groaned slightly as it slowly swung open. Clammy air rose up around her feet as if crawling blindly through the darkness. Didn't seem like the kind of place anyone in the right mind would visit voluntarily. Yeah, ground meat. Yeah, that's gotta be... Yeah, gotta be a reference to the wall chicken. Pushed the heavy iron door the rest of the way open and stepped into the darkness. It was a row of cells all locked behind iron bars. 1, 2... Oh, Gulliver, Melgid, Zoronda. Please forgive me. Heard a voice from the third cell, whimpering and crying pathetically. Strained my eyes to look inside. Faintly in the darkness, I could see something that looked like a man sitting on the floor. So this was the source of the voice. You alright, mate? Kid called out to the figure. Forgive me, it's all my fault. The Dragoons never deserved this. Is that Radius? General, Lady Riddell? Oh, forgive me, I beg of you. The old man didn't seem to respond to us at all. He only sat facing the wall, begging forgiveness for who knows. Can you hear me? Asked Kid, trying again. Be no getting through to him. His real self will have long since retreated inside the shell he's created, said Magil, cutting her off. What do you mean, shell? He's built a shell around the core of his psyche in order to shield himself from the truth. He's running from something. Something terrible. He's seen something, been through something, done something. So he refuses... So he created his own world on the inside as a final refuge. The outside world is lost to him forevermore. I looked at Magil in surprise. I had detected a hint of unspoken sadness in his words. For some reason he was looking at Kid, watching over her as she stared at the man in the cell. Seeming to notice my gaze, Magil turned back to face me, assuming his usual emotions, expression once more. We live in a world of sorrow and foolishness. It's only inevitable that some would try to escape it. But despite his hard words, his eyes retained a certain softness, his steely gaze giving way to gentle light. You understand? I think so. Gave a slightly evasive answer. You seem confused. I don't blame you. You'll come to understand eventually. Magil looked at me and Kid. What was all that about? We're not going to get much out of him. He's miles away. Just leave him. Try somewhere else. Wait, Magil called. Must find some way to get him to speak. For what? He's speaking already. Does none of it make sense? What are you after? Some things he said piqued my curiosity. This and Chrono Cross aren't, like, terribly tied together. Like, because I played Chrono Cross, this isn't really making any more sense. So far, anyways. So he said the Dragoons are ancient history, snapped Kid. Besides, how can we trust anything he says? He's clearly off his rocker. She had a point. The old man had long since cut his ties to the real world. What did Magil expect him to say? Without missing a beat, Magil replied. We simply have to bring him back to reality. How are we gonna do that? You want me to do a little dance for him or something? I knew if I said anything, I'd get nothing but an earful a lifetime in return. So I clamped my hands over my mouth to save myself. What are you playing at, USB port? Kid seemed unimpressed. That was a close one. I don't think that would work, said Magil dryly. Kid's fist flew straight towards his face. Magil shifted his weight, effortlessly avoiding the attack. We must break through the shell he has created and drag him back to the real world. And we'll need some kind of key to do that. Something that'll reach even him. Through the barrier he's erected. Yeah, and where are we gonna find this key? I don't know. But there's someone in this manor who can tell us. You're not talking about Riddell, are you? I am. Alright, fine. Don't know what you expect her to tell us, though. Kid turned on her heel and made for the door. Left the gibbering old man in the dungeon alone with his sorrow. So I guess we just go back to Riddell's room. I go to the Atrium, I guess. An exit leading to Link's and Riddell's room kept ominously. Yeah. Continue on. Continue along the path ahead. Went inside. Will she actually be here? Oh, is someone there? Came the voice of a young woman. We shrank into the shadows. The woman appeared from deeper within the room. She was lightly made up, had a gentle, unthreatening air about her. It was Lynx's daughter. Yeah, I don't know what the deal is with Magil. Strange, I'm sure I heard someone. I was at a loss as to what to do for a moment. Before I had time to do much more and hold my breath, Kid already darted over. And thrust her knife out, stopping the blade only a hair's breadth from the woman's neck. Where's the frozen flame? Answer me. Her voice came out in a harsh growl. Rushed in to hold Kid back before she hurt the poor woman. Kid, do we really have to do it this way? Shut your trap, USB port. Riddell couldn't help but giggle as she watched his bickering. What are you laughing at? Kid shot Riddell a harsh look. Well, you don't seem like thieves at all. You little, do you want me to cut you, girl? Be surprised that knife could cut anything. For a moment I felt faint, imagining Riddell on the floor, covered in blood. But then, clang. Kid threw her knife to the floor and saw that it was only a letter opener. Didn't think you'd notice. Whatever, I'm not here to mess around killing the likes of you anyway. No desire for bloodshed either, said Riddell in a voice that was almost a whisper. I'm not your enemy. In fact, I want to help you. Let me guess, you're trapped in the manor too. Riddell only lowered her eyes sadly in response to Kid's question. Frozen flame should never have been allowed to fall into Lynx's hands. Riddell spoke quietly, but deep emotion clearly underpinned her words. Flame was once the property of an ancient kingdom to the north who kept it for generations. Said of the uncanny power to guide people and change history itself. After the kingdom fell, the flame changed hands countless times, until eventually just came into my father's possession. That was before I was born. Sometime later, Lynx became aware of the flame's true value, and approached my father under false pretenses of friendship. Not a soul suspected what his true intentions were. And then, on that horrible day, he destroyed everything. Riddell shook her head and then buried her face in her hands. I don't care about the frozen flame. I don't care about that stupid stone. It means nothing to me. I just want to take it away from Lynx and smash it to pieces right in front of him. And only we can make that happen. Riddell looked up with surprise as Magil spoke. No one else in the world can seize that jewel from you, Lynx. Then in a low voice she whispered, what can I do to help? There's a survivor of the Acacia Dragoons in the dungeon who we want to help. And if we're to help him, we need your help, Magil said, taking a step forward. What? That man's a traitor. It's because of him, the father. Please, it's the only way. Riddell turned her back to us and hung her head low. You'd look different. The Chamber of Death, there might be something to bring him back to his senses there. What's going on, Bap 2? How have you been? After all, it was there that he chose to abandon his pride, his life. I assume the Chamber of Death must be the cell with the trap ceiling. Yeah, that's gonna be a problem. That thing damn near killed us last time. You'll need to take the Einlanzer with you. Major Babeler. It is a sacred sword said to have been forged by an ancient sage, and a sinister blade to the crimson curse Masamune. The timeless blessings of the Einlanzer will surely keep you safe from the Chamber of Death's wickedness. It used to be such a sight to see in the hands of Zoronda. Danced like the wind, shone like the stars, and struck like lightning. Lost again the memories of fonder times, Riddle once more bowed her head. Forgive me, I have little more to tell you. You've told us more than enough. Take our leave now. Wish I had the strength to change things like you do, whispered Riddle, biting her lip. Kid hesitated for a moment, seemingly deep in thought. It ain't about strength, it's about having a purpose. Something to fight for. I'll be praying for you. Kid shot Riddle a look over her shoulders. Great, maybe you can cross your fingers too. He left the room. Okay, so we go back to the the room. Leading the group as usual, Kid suddenly stopped. What was that? More skeletons. Trying to recover from a back injury. Good lord, Baptu. Well, I hope you're feeling better. What's they gonna do? Tackle the skeleton. Crunching sound and clattering of bones as the skeleton was knocked back by the blow. His body split clean in two at the waist. Better luck next time. As in response, the skeleton's upper body picked itself from the ground, turning its skull towards me. Balancing its body with its left hand, it then pulled the skull from its head with its right hand. What's it doing? Before I could get the words out, it heaved its skull at me. Catch it. Caught it in both hands, and flung it back. Slammed it into the floor. Slammed the skull into the ground. It smashed to pieces with a satisfying crunch. As soon as it had, the skeleton's torso collapsed into a lifeless heap. Won't be troubling us anymore. More meat. Am I even more healed now? Okay, so I guess I want to go to the Atrium. Go to the stairs. Anyway, what I was about to say was I probably have to go back to that room. Then right 3, left 2, right 2. Yeah, getting better at combat. Well, it seems like like there's some mixture of like common sense and like just having dealt with a battle before. It's like, what would you do in this situation? I think I want to go towards the terrace. Maybe it's the main hall, I forget. I had a car accident in 2011. Oh, that helped. Oh, yeah. Judiciously took tumors exclusive. I guess it does work well as a anti-inflammatory. It took form like someone blowing smoke into a person-shaped bottle. It was robed in a ragged shroud, its sunken eyes glinted menacingly. Burning hatred that lingers even after death given form, of being driven by hatred for all living things. A ghost. Bugger, that's us out. Anything she or I could do to deal with an enemy that had no physical body. Magil begun casting a spell, yeah. Jump behind Magil. Cast me a glance, continuing his incantation without missing a beat, then grabbed me by the scruff of the neck and threw me at the ghost. I made a strangled scream of horror I'd probably never be able to repeat again. I tried to brace myself before I crashed face first into the wall. The impact I was expecting never came. The core of the ghost, where its face seemed to be, had more substance than the rest of it. I didn't just slip through like I thought I would. I oozed through it like I was stuck in some kind of goo. It's gross. Ye gods, it was disgusting. More disgusting than anything I'd ever known. It was impossibly cold. I felt like I was draining all the heat out of my blood. Like my life force itself, in fact. I struggled to break free, but I could not find no purchase in the gooey ectoplasm. Coldness became more intense, and I soon didn't even know what cold meant anymore. Yet for me, I thought, I was consumed by despair. Then a surge of heat through my muscles and my neck in the place where Magil had grabbed me just a moment before. At the same time as incantation echoed in my mind, my vision was filled with a clear blue light. So I was... What? You still with us, USB port? Someone was slapping me about the face. Someone who seemed to enjoy it immensely. Kids, stop it, damn you. Leapt on my feet, wide awake again in an instant. Do you really have to use me like that? When dealing with foes who attack the mind, it's simplest to lure them in with bait, then use their intended prey's consciousness as a conduit to make an assault from in the astral plane. Oh, of course. A direct magical attack would have meant a lengthy battle. A far less elegant solution, he replied, without a trace of guilt. Anyway, let's keep moving. Kid gave the order to continue, seemingly completely oblivious with my brush to death. Doing great. Let's save it again. Using a weed eater? Oh, what? To cut some grass. Oh, weed eating. My back did not like it. Is this that room with the organ? Seriously? Bruised my knife against the ghost anyway, channeling all my willpower into the tip of the blade. A chilling shock ran through my body. The ghost was trying to drain life from me. I felt so cool. Battle with the undead is a test of will. Whoever flinches first loses. While I may have been up against a being formed from a willpower so strong it created a monster, this thing never put up with being mercilessly ripped into by Kid every day of its life. This otherworldly chill so cold, suddenly I wasn't sure I was going to make it. That'll do, USB port, good on you. Kid's voice cut through the numbness. Somehow I was still standing, and Kid flew past me, her knife gleaming in the darkness. Magil finished casting a spell of banishment while I was keeping the ghost busy. I saw a Kid catch the blue current of magical energy with her blade and sending it crashing into the ghost's forehead. Did I make it? My body slacked as relief washed over me and felt my consciousness slipping. USB port, you still with us? Someone was slapping my cheek. They seem to be enjoying it. Stop it, Kid. Oh, get over yourself. I was only sucking your soul out of you for a few seconds. Don't tell me it took your sense of humor, too. Try it for yourself and say that, I thought to myself. Gonna hand it to you, though. You showed some guts there. Here's your reward. Then she spun her heel and stood there next to Magil as if nothing happened. Slowly I rose to my feet, not believing what she had done. I could still feel her lips on my forehead. What? She kissed me on the forehead? I keep following the corridor. Continue on. Yeah, giggity. Yeah, go inside here. Huh? What? Go in the direction of the stairs going upward, yeah. Right 3, left 2, right 2. Thank you, Craig. We went inside. I don't care what we might find in there, even if it could lead us straight to the frozen flame. Ain't going in until we find a way to deal with that trap. Riddell mentioned an ancient blade, the Einlanzer. Without it, we could find a way to progress. Oh, for God's sakes, where was the Einlanzer? I thought she gave it to me. God damn it, man. Shit, where was it? Because I remember somewhere they're like, there's some shitty fucking sword. What's in this door? Oh, there it is. Our ticket of not getting turned into mincemeat. The ancient sword was right where Kid had left it. After pulling it up from the pile of junk, she ran over to where it lay. Get out the sword, Magil muttered. Two ancient blades, the sacred Iron Lancer and the cursed Masamune. What are you on about, Madge? You know something about the Masamune? Well, it seems to mean something to you. It does. Something to do with old friends I don't know about? Not exactly. An enemy, then? Not exactly. You're being weird, Madge. Yeah, whatever. Oi, numbnuts, grab this thing for me, would you? Still standing by the door when Kid called over to me. Me? Yeah, you, or are you gonna make me lug the bloody thing all over the place? Just a scrawny little girl, ain't I? Call yourself a gentleman? My jaw dropped. I knew there wasn't anything I could say to her. Silently, I walked over to Kid and picked up the sword like I was told. Nearly fell over, that thing was heavy. Good boy, right. Off to the chamber of death. Eyes on the prize, lads. Dragging the sword behind me, I followed Kid out of the room. Goblin guards. It wasn't likely to be anyone else going for any, Drew my knife. Picked up on the situation pretty quickly and drew my knife. You know something? You're starting to look like a real thief now. You just need to walk the walk. Right, USB port, Magil, let's get him. Kid leapt forward, confident as ever, as like she thought nothing could go wrong. 5 of them in total. Okay, what did I do last time? Met the challenge with my knife. I jumped back to evade the attack. Yeah. Then do that. Then whatever this is, I should be different. Do that. Threw the knife at the goblin's face by reflex and immediately raised its buckler to catch the blow. I took the opportunity to grab the goblin's Morningstar from the floor and slip behind its back. All I had to do next was bring the Morningstar down on its head. Turned around right on cue. It was now or never. I swung the iron ball towards its face, but the weapon was a lot harder to handle than I thought. The goblin easily parried it with the back of its thick, fleshy hand. Chain was yanked savagely, pulling me off balance, and I was kicked into the air. It felt as if I was falling forever, like an autumn leaf floating gently from a tree. Excuse me. It wasn't the stone floor that broke my fall, but the embrace of a pair of muscular arms. Get back. Magil dropped me to the floor like a sack of potatoes and advanced on the goblin. Took the mace from its belt and charged towards him. Lashed out with a kick, sending the mace flying. His foot came down again, this time the goblin's hideous face. Creature's features crumpled inward and its body fell to the floor with a heavy thud. It's all over in a second. You're bloody pathetic. No good nabbing a weapon you don't know how to handle, is it? Try using your head for once, will you? Sometimes I did really despair. Doing my best just to survive, but it would hurt for her to offer you alright, mate, just once in a while. Wait a second. Hey, meat. I think I want to go to the depths of the manor. Then up the stairs. Now that we have the sword. This place is just as creepy as I remember. Lovely. Looking at the stains on the wall. Ceiling had been pulled back up. There's no reason to believe it might not come down again at any moment. Bearing in mind what Riddell had told us the room was called, definitely wasn't somewhere we wanted to linger. Quickly, hissed Magil, before crouching down and examining the ground for clues. Kid and I crouched down too. What were we even looking for, though? What could the old man have left in this room that would help us bring him back to reality? Flagstones of the floor were smeared with a black gooey substance that gave off an odd rotten aroma. Shook my head, trying to drive an uncomfortable thought from my mind. Kid saw me and clearly wasn't doing much better herself. She slowly turned, positioning herself so that she was facing away from the stains on the wall. No point in thinking like that, I just had to try. Door slammed shut. Here we bloody go again. If we don't deal with the trap, we'll never find what we're looking for. We ducked our heads, desperately trying to avoid the blades that jutted from the bottom. Kid looked at me and screamed, "The sword! Use the Einlanzer!" How do you use a sword? Plunge the sword into Kid? Jesus Christ, into the ceiling, I guess. Alright, let's see if this legendary sword can smash through the ceiling. Jam the Einlanzer upward with all my might. A clang pinged hard off the countless blades flashing down from above, throwing me to the floor. Ow. Hands numb from the shock. Towards the ground. Shock ran through the room. Beams of light scattered from the blade and covering the floor and walls and racing upward. The ceiling gave an almighty judder, then stopped. We made it. Sank to the floor helplessly, my heart racing. What's that? Kid was pointing at part of the wall. It's where we seen the message written in blood. Guess we found what we were looking for. Part of the wall had collapsed, revealing a cavity behind what had looked like a piece of solid stone. Inside, I could see something glinting faintly in the darkness. Kids reached with her fingertips, carefully extracting whatever it was. It's a slender ring with delicately engraved design that looked like it was overlapping ferns. The ring was adorned with several small rubies in a pattern that resembled a bunch of grapes. Crest of Acacia. Must be the Acacian signet. Kid put the ring in her middle finger where it sat uneasily. Didn't seem to be her size. The rubies gave off an eerie glint. Let's spend any more time in here than we have to. Foiled the trap and retrieved the singlet. Left the Einlanzer where it stood and we exited the room. Alright, well back to the... Alright, continue on, I guess. Continue on. Continue on. Down the stairs. To the Atrium. Never used a weed whacker before. I'm not sure. If I have, it was like once. Towards the dungeon, I think. Scream pierced the darkness, turning my blood to ice. I realized that a pair of crazed blood-red eyes was staring into the depths of my soul. Another griffin. In panic, I tried to slip the knife from my belt. Before I could draw my weapon, the griffin had spread its powerful wings and swooped towards me with an almighty screech. It was knocked back and sent rolling across the ground. I gasped with pain as the wind was knocked out of me. USB port, you okay? Every nerve in my body was screaming with pain. I held back the groans and staggered to my feet. I looked up to see the massive griffin in front of me. Its hellish red eyes stared down its beak. It's going to attack, what can I do? I ducked. Almost by reflex, I ducked the attack. The griffin suddenly beat its wings wildly, sending a barrage of razor-sharp feathers flying right at me. Fortunately, every single one of them flew clean over my head. Close shave, I rose to my feet and faced the griffin again. The beast's mad red eyes glared at me. I desperately tightened my grip on the knife. I tried to defend myself. Keeping a safe distance from the griffin, I looked over to check on the others. Getting some breathing space allowed me to get a moment to refocus. My wounds didn't feel as bad as I first thought. Oi, USB port, this ain't a spectator sport, shouted Kid. She gracefully dodged an attack. Griffin let itself open. She quickly moved in to land a decisive punch right on the base of its wings. The beast beat its wings awkwardly. She clearly damaged it something vital. My chance to follow up with a clincher. Crouched down, circling towards its blind spot, only for the accursed creature to spin around and face me. It's going to attack, what could I do? Moved in close. Almost by reflex, I jumped in close to the griffin's body. Its razor-sharp beak sliced over the air over my head. Just managed to avoid a lethal blow. As the Beast's mad red eyes glared on me. I desperately tightened my grip on my knife. I attacked. I reversed my grip on my knife and plunged it into the griffin's neck with all my might. Rock! The griffin's body contorted with agony. Driven mad with rage, the griffin shook its head this way and that, quickly pulled my knife out from its neck and rolled away to put some space between us. Yeah, USB port is Surge. It is Surge. Don't move, USB port, yelled Kid from behind me. Suddenly she landed on my shoulders and leapt into the air. Crack. Her knee crashed into the side of the creature's skull, making a crunching sound I could feel in my bones. The griffin screeched in agony. Then it turned its mad, crazed eyes towards me, where I lay on the floor, having been used like a springboard by Kid. It's my luck. I was going to attack. What could I do? Jump back. Almost by reflex, I jumped back and suddenly beat its wings wildly, sending a barrage of razor-sharp feathers flying right at me. Feathers pierced my body. I gritted my teeth and pulled them out quickly as I could, and turned to face the griffin again. What the hell else do I do to this thing? Attack it again. Somehow managed to turn its head aside, knocking my hand back at the last moment. I keep a grip on my knife so I wouldn't lose it. She did it again. Griffin stiffened, suddenly becoming completely rigid. Its eyes rolled into the back of its head. It fell to the ground with an almighty crash. We'd done it. We actually managed to defeat a griffin. Rather, Kid managed to defeat it. I fell to my knees, overwhelmed by what I'd just been through, but glad it was all over. Having retrieved the signet, we returned to the old man's cell. As soon as we got there, Magil took a step forward and grabbed onto the bars. He creaked and groaned as he heaved at them, gritting his teeth as he summoned every ounce of his might. Slowly, they bowed apart. He stepped into the cell through the gap. Kid and I followed. The old man was exactly as we left him, staring into space and muttering meaningless words. Kid walked over to him and crouched down. She grabbed him by the collar and yelled at him, "Wakey, wakey, Granddad. Got a few questions for you. Here, get an eye full of this. Ring any bells, Kid waved the signet in his face, shaking him roughly all the while. The old man's head lolled as he limply allowed himself to be manhandled. Trying to get between Kid and the old man, she glared at me. You're in the way, USB port. We're here for answers, remember? If you really want to help him, you can't chicken out now. But look at him. No helping him anymore, surely. It's all ended for him long ago. This is not over. It still means something. He simply decided to pretend not to see it. Yeah, but it's not over, you say? Struck by the man's sudden interruption, we all turned to look at him. A faint glimmer of light had returned to his once vacant eyes. That's right, none of this is over until we make Lynx pay. So my former allies have finally come for me. I am to blame. It's because of my indiscretion that the Frozen Flame was stolen. That of all the Acacian Dragoons, only I remain here in the Manor. But now all is well, for you have returned. Oh, Melgid, Zoranda. Where have you been all this time? Did you return to Lake Stoic? Never mind that, Granddad. Where's the Frozen Flame? Give us a clue, anything. Come on, out with it. I couldn't tell if Kid was annoyed or desperate. My word, Lady Riddell, it's been far too long since I had the pleasure. Why, you only need to turn the third candlestick, from the left, as you enter the main hall. Okay. Kid wrapped her arms around the old man and held him tight. Then in a trembling voice she whispered, I'm sorry. I promise we'll get it back. The man recoiled in horror, then began to sob once more. I am to blame. It's all my fault. Forgive me. Look, if you want to get out of here, now's your chance, but it's no use. He's too busy cowering and waiting to hear me. We're done here. USB port, we can't help him. There's things that need to be done. Hi, Speedy. Hey, buddy. What's up? Let's go straight down. Hi, buddy. What happens if I do the other thing? I'm curious. Oh. Oh. All I had to do was bring the mace down on its head. The goblin turned right around on cue. I slammed the mace down into its face. It was a horrible squelch, and I felt the sickening crunch and the shock that ran through the weapon. The goblin's flabby form thudded to the ground. Finally a notch in your belt, huh? I guess do that then. I guess I don't want either of these. Said something about the main... like the main hallway or whatever, so let's go back. So I guess go to the Atrium. Okay, so let's go up the stairs. Towards the main hall. Third candlestick on the right. Wasn't it from the right? Third candlestick from the left. 1, 2, 3. There. She reached out towards it. I held my breath as I watched. Say your prayers, Lynx, were coming for you. Hey, well, I'm glad she remembered. The room trembled with a sudden rhythmic rumbling sound as if a massive gear was turning. What was that? For a moment I felt a strange sensation as if I was floating. Feel that? The entire room seemed to be moving downward. I couldn't quite believe it, but I couldn't deny the feeling of downward motion. The main hall was sinking into the earth. Then another rumble. The room's descent rapidly accelerated. Cold sweat dripped from my back. My heart filled with a mixture of fear and anticipation. What was waiting for us down there? Frozen flame, our prize at the end of this little adventure, but what was it really? Did it live up to our expectations? I tightened my fists, which were slick with sweat. What were Kid and Magil thinking? The room remained veiled in silence. So in response to my thoughts, a quiet voice came next to me. Sometimes... It was Kid. I looked over to see her standing stiffly, staring forward with her hands clenched to fists. Sometimes I feel like I'm stuck in a losing battle, a fight I'll never win no matter what I do. It's a side of her I never witnessed before, even from this angle. I could see fear and doubt flickering across her face. All the tender stinging in my heart. We'll win, I promise. There's nothing to worry about. We'll win in the end. Yeah, Drongo. Can't promise anything in this world, USB port. There's no guarantees. But thanks anyway. She grinned again, seeming a little embarrassed, and looked me straight in the eye. Then I had the strangest sensation this wasn't Kid, or not Kid I knew anyway. I was overwhelmed by the inexplicable oddness of the idea. She noticed immediately, of course, and her little moment was over. Kid I knew was back in the room. Trying to catch flies, mate? Sorry. Just for a moment there, it felt like you were someone else. What are you on about? Kid gave me a confused look, tilting her head. That's because we're drawing near to the frozen flame. Michelle's voice, as soft as ever, slipped unbidden from the shadows. What the heck are you two on about? Kid turned towards him with another puzzled frown. There's another self within you struggling against the pull of the abyss. What you been talking about? Oh. Crash split the silence, as if we collided with something. A loud metallic scraping filled the air. The room rocked and finally came to a halt. Looks like the end of the line, all change. Swelling grandeur of the organ suddenly filled the air. Swelling organ, excuse me. No one had so much touched it, yet keys to the pedals were moving by themselves. The melody it was playing was both unsettling and sad. Funeral tune, is it? Way to greet your guests. Was this playing when the orphanage was burning? Kid took a long stride forward, then turned to face me and Magil. Let's go. Magil and I gently nodded our assent. Kid grinned and then turned back to the door. Coming for you, Lynx, is the end for you. With that, she led us from the hall. Continue down a long, dark corridor, the wall slick with condensation. The air was thick and heavy as though ripe with the stench of death. We were really getting close to Link's hidden vault at last. Is there any turning back now for any of us? Something strange about Kid that night. Magil didn't seem his usual self either to begin with. It's vanishingly rare for him to speak so much, let alone show any kind of emotion. How happened to make them change like that? Unable to take the silence anymore, I decided to speak. What is the frozen flame? Is it really just a jewel? Only silence in return. Then when it seemed like no one would reply at all, Magil spoke. It's a sacred stone that cures all ills, heals all wounds, or grants eternal life. So they say. In truth, it's part of a tremendous rock that fell from the skies a long time ago. Rock was a source of a hitherto unknown power, with which mankind's hidden potential was unlocked. It's as humanity's dreams made manifest. It's not always good to have one's dreams come true. Many were bewitched by great power. Some were led astray by it. It even led to a kingdom's ruin. A kingdom once prosperous, yet now little more than fragments of dust. Its name lost to history. For a moment I thought I heard a hint of pain and sadness in Magil's voice, but maybe it was just my nerves. How do you know all this? He only stared at me with his piercing dark eyes and then continued onward. For a while, only the sound of footsteps echoed in the corridor. Then Kid gave a doubtful humph. Look, I don't know if all the stuff about the frozen flame is true or not. Neither here nor there to me. She raised a fist. We're here to settle the score with Lynx by nicking the thing. That's all I know, and that's all I want to know. What had Lynx seen in the frozen flame? Why'd it have been worth risking so much for? We trudged down the dark passageway, each of us alone with our thoughts. Concentrating on my footsteps lessened the burden of my worries somewhat, and I felt a renewed vigor to a degree. Suddenly, Magil stopped in his tracks. Wait! Huh? Kid turned around puzzled. Just then a powerful light surged across the floor. A ring-shaped sigil appeared. Damn it, a blood circle. Kid and Magil were at least quick enough to try and jump clear. They weren't quite quick enough. The three of us were trapped in a circle of blinding light. Okay. Sigil rotated left and right with us at the center, cutting off all routes of escape. Ah, we're trapped. A wall of heat and wind blew up around us, swirling lines and spirals of life assailed us wherever we turned. This looks neat. Don't let the light mesmerize you. Cover your eyes, shouted Magil, raising a hand over his mask. Turn with the light, not against it. There has to be a way out. What? I barely even understand what's going on. Kid's elbow brushed against the wall of light surrounding us, sending sparks flying. Be careful. Merely to touch it is more than enough to harm you. Stay well back. Over at a gap to escape through. Turned... I guess it was left, then right, then left. I think it's left 3 times. 3 steps to the left. Yeah. That was right, damn it. It was right 3 times. Ah! Couldn't find a way through and plunged healthily into the swirling vortex of light. We made it through one of the barriers. We're in out of the woods yet, there's still another wall of light. Okay, this one will be left too. Left twice. 2 steps to the left. There, I see it. That's our way through. Find the gap in the wall of light. Carefully walk through. Kid, Magil, this way. Then right twice. There we go. Thank you, David. We did eat. Suddenly my body felt light and I staggered 2 or 3 steps forward. Bad in the deserted passageway we'd been walking down before the blood circle had appeared. Sigil had vanished from the floor and everything was silent as if nothing had been amiss. Then I looked up. I looked up and there was a door on the ceiling. How do I get in there? Yeah, it's all good, David. I just remembered it wrong, then I scrolled up and it's all good. Wouldn't let me save it in here though, which is a little annoying. There's 3 save files, just let me save it. If I'm not right, you know, in the thick of a choice, just let me save it. Looks like we finally made it, boys. True frozen flame awaits. Magil's eyes gave a glint from behind his mask, like glass catching moonlight in the darkness of night. Let's go. So this is the place, huh? Kid narrowed her eyes, straining to see her surroundings in the darkness. Vast, pitch-black expanse surrounded us. Whichever way we looked, as if we entered an impossibly vast cave. We were in a place forgotten by time, unknown to the world, hidden deep within the bowels of night. A gentle crimson light hovered in the darkness, the frozen flame. Alright, now it's ours. The light of the flame ebbed and waned gently, as if responding to Kid's voice. What the heck is this place? There's mounds of bloody rubble everywhere. Magil took a step forward into the room, said in a whisper that was almost a groan. It can't be. The ruins of the lost kingdom of mages. The voice drifted down from the darkness from above. Kid looked up in shock. Lynx! Kick your flea-bitten arse so hard you'll kiss the moon! Kid pulled her knife from her belt and threw it as hard as she could. Fell to the floor with a clang as if knocked out of the air by some unseen hand. Still the same impetuous child as ever, I see. There's no way to greet an old friend. Smarmy bastard, Kid gritted her teeth with rage. And you, Shadow Dweller, I'll have none of your tricks this time. You must think me a fool if you believe I'll fall for that again. Magil, who had been quietly slipping into the darkness that surrounded us, stopped dead in his tracks. Yeah, I've heard of Clock Tower. Yeah, similar atmosphere to this, though that one is horror. Yeah, not quite the same. It's the Mammon Machine. Dun dun dun. Is it? You're not the Mammon Machine. The Lord of this deadly manor. The man who murdered the closest thing Kid had to a family, who had assassinated General Viper, and eradicated the Order of the Acacia Dragoons. Pleasure as always, my dear Kid, and I must say, you followed the trail of breadcrumbs I laid for you admirably closely, my greedy little sneak thief. What the bloody? She stepped forward, bristling. Lynx narrowed his eyes and his hips twisted into a snarl. You know what I want, Kid? Give me the stone you carry. Kid have some kind of jewel I didn't know about? Don't know what you're on about, mate. She's just about to manage to recover her composure, narrowing her eyes scornfully at her own foe. Old foe. Spare me the act, child. I know you have it. I know she gave it to you. Hand over the time egg. Now. What? I've never heard of this. You're dreaming if you think I'll give that to the likes of you, Kid shot back. It's all I have left of her. I'll never let go of it, not for anyone, and definitely not for you. I'll tell you what's gonna happen, you bastard. First, I'm gonna take that frozen flame, and then I'm gonna ram it up your ass. Incorrigible young fool. I was hoping this might be a civilized exchange. Alas, it seems my words will only fall on deaf ears. You're determined to repeat your past errors. Lynx moved his hand to the grip of the ornate gold saber that hung from his belt. Last time I showed you mercy and let you leave with your life. That was a mistake. One I mean to correct. Stay back, USB port. Magil. Kid stepped forward, glaring at Lynx, her gaze unflinching. Ends here and now. You'll pay for what you've done. You'll pay for what you did to Luca. He actually said Luca in front of Serge this time. With a scream, Kid leapt into the air like a bird taking flight. Bird. Her foot lashed out in a scything kick, aimed right at the side of Lynx's head. There was no contact where Lynx had been mere moments before. Just empty space. Kid landed and immediately launched herself back into the air, putting the full force of her momentum into another kick. This time Lynx leaned back, letting Kid's foot swing past only a hair's breadth from his nose. Then it was Lynx's turn. He lashed out with his saber, carving an arc through the air in front of him. Kid was ready for him, though, and had already jumped back to a safe distance. The two glared at each other from mere footsteps apart. At least she had the decency to prepare a little better than last time Link spurred. A red line appeared on Kid's cheek, slowly coalescing into a drop of blood. Kid? In a flash, she launched herself into yet another attack. Link's dodged to the side, then made to strike her with the hilt of his saber. Kid moved awkwardly to avoid the attack, losing her footing. Then Lynx was on her like a bird of prey before she could fully recover. There was a gasp and a cough as Link drove his knee into the pit of her stomach. Kid collapsed. A steady stream of red dripped from her lips. Will that be all, girl? Lynx gave Kid a merciless kick to the side, sending her flying. She landed on a pile of rubble, her body rolling until she hit a large stone pillar. There she lay, lifeless. Kid? I screamed her name as I charged towards Link, but Magil was there already. He flew through the darkness, part of the shadows, before crashing down on Lynx like a bolt from the blue. Lynx jumped back and countered. Threads of light flew from his fingertips towards Magil. With a droning hum, the threads of light surrounded Magil, crossing over one another. They spread to form the lattice of light that gave off a blinding glare, and trapped Magil where he stood. What's this? Magil staggered and groaned, attempting to shield his eyes with his hands. I mean, the up-the-ass thing was an ad-lib, but that's what she should have said. It's such a simple enough spell, my shadowy friend, for those inclined to learn it, and one which sadly for you leaves no darkness in which to hide. Lynx leered at Magil with a venomous grin. Quite the thorn in my side, I'll let you live long enough to regret it. Magil struggled and groaned. I had to do something. Kid and Magil needed me, but what was I gonna do? I challenged Lynx. I charged at Lynx. I screamed as I rushed towards Kid's nemesis. Then in one fluid motion, he spun around to face me, lashing out with his saber. I tried my best to dodge the blow, but the blade sliced into my body. Well, that's not great. Collapsed in a heap and rolled down onto the rubble. You're not the first arrogant little street rat I've cut down, you won't be the last. Claw-like fingers clamped around my throat. I couldn't breathe. Tightening his grip, Lynx lifted my body until my feet were dangling in the air. I feel his talons mercilessly digging deeper into my neck. Panic filled my mind. Look, kid, see your friend. See him suffer. This is your doing. Your hand around his neck. Kid's breathing was ragged and blood still dripped from her lips. Opening an eye, she groggily raised her head. She couldn't get up. She didn't have the strength. USB port. Give me the time egg. Even know what it is? I suspect not. Think of it as a concentrated pocket of space. Frozen flame and the time egg in hand, one can bend the fabric of space-time and rewrite the past. There are errors I mean to correct. Mistakes in the past that must be set right. Link's narrow, motionless eyes returned to my face. How long before he perishes, I wonder? Struggled to breathe, but could only make choking sounds. Kid screamed my name. Decide, will you watch the boy die or relent? Does his life mean nothing to you? Can't. She balled her hands into fists and dropped her gaze. The vision started to fade. Then I heard her voice as she struggled to speak through the pain. Sorry, USB port, but I swore I'd sacrifice anything to stop Lynx. Don't worry about me. That's all I could do to force the words out past Lynx's icy grip. I'm starting to black out. Is this really how it was going then? Crying out loud, fine, you win. Here, have your damn rock. Lynx's grip on my throat loosened. Groaning with pain, Kid reached a shaky hand into her shirt. I knew you'd come around in the end. Lynx threw my body to the ground, then walked over towards her. Just shut up and take it, you bastard. It's all you deserve. With all the strength she could muster, Kid lashed out at Lynx with her right hand. God. He leapt back in a desperate attempt to evade the blow. But it was too late. Kid's nails, sharp as cat claws, raked mercilessly into his face. Lynx roared with pain. He staggered, clutching his left eye. Blood oozed through the gaps in his fingers. Ugh. You wretched little chit of a girl. Lynx stood awkwardly, still clutching at the wound on his face. The fingers of his free hand arched into furious talons as he walked back towards Kid, who still lay on the ground. I'll kill you all. He kicked her hand, concentrating all his wrath and venom into the blow. Kid gasped as all the wind was knocked out of her. Then more blood ran from her mouth as her body rolled across the floor. Kid? I yelled hoarsely, clutching my burning throat with one hand. Lynx turned his head slowly to look at me, one eye fixing on me coldly as I came into view. He took a step towards me. Perhaps it'd be better to start with you, my dear kid. Rest assured that your friend's death will be a most elaborate and painful one. You will truly know what it means to suffer, boy. I will put you through the same suffering I did that Luca woman. Kid's body stirred with shock and horror. Her eyes slowly opened, fixing on Lynx. They were wild eyes, stained with the blood that poured from her brow. Gritting her teeth, she staggered to her feet. Then the explosion of life birth force from the frozen flame. Another light began to form from somewhere near Kid's chest, resonating with the light from the frozen flame. Twin lights entwined, twirling slowly upward. And it rose. The golden spiral spread. This can't be. Lynx stood motionless, transfixed by the spectacle. Is this the Time Egg's power? Kid screamed as a raging blaze of light engulfed her. I'll never let you do it again. I'll never let you steal from me again. Bathed in the glow, her body shook. Blood-red tears dripped from her eyes as they took on a distant look. Then she collapsed to the ground as if all life had gone out to her. Out of her. Even. I heard a voice. It was quiet and still like the evening. It has come to pass. Kid is retracing her lost memories back through time, back to the Lost Kingdom. Yeah, another vintage song. Look at how much of the soundtrack they wrote already. It was through her power that the kingdom fell. That is what swallowed in all the all-encompassing vortex of time. In her grief, she wished to disappear, her past, her future, she wanted it all to sink into the void. To be lost in the seething whirl of time. She despised what she had done. She closed herself off from all that she saw and heard and cursed her very existence. But the stone wished for her to live. The hands of her clock were rewound, her memories unraveled. The stone gave her a chance to begin again. The stone had both the power and the will to bring all this about. Sinking through the sea of time, she drifted here, a mere babe. Her memories of a blank slate. Time Egg shattered, its fragments raining down on the world, becoming shards of sorrow and anguish. The world around us drifted into pieces. It swallowed us, engulfed us. We were consumed, locked into the void. And then a girl's scream echoed in the darkness. That voice, was it Kid? Oh, the one song in Chrono Cross that wasn't made with just acoustic instruments. No, this is all wrong. The black vortex, it surrounds us. No, stop. Okay. Where am I? I've lost everything and now I can but wander. The world drifts and time is a blur. There's only an endless, unknowable sea. This is where time begins and ends. This is where all life finds peace. Thanks, real shit. How you doing, Jeff B? I think we're almost at the end of this here now. I see myself as a baby crying next to my mother and an exhausted yet proud look on her face. We just ran into Lynx and the Time Egg and the Frozen Flame did some crazy stuff. Seeing myself aged and wizened, waiting to succumb to death's embrace with a smile, I see countless incarnations of myself walking time's intricate corridors as ghosts. This is a place where countless worlds overlap and infinite dreams play out. If only I could rest here for eternity. If only I could free myself of all my burdens and sleep here in the sea of dreams. But I hear it calling me. I hear the song. Kid. Kid, please. Can you hear me? Kid. Kid, say something. You gotta stay with me, kid. Who's that? Who's calling me? USB port? Where am I? Kid, you're awake. I heard a song and it was beautiful. It's that song that Luca loved. Kid closed her eyes and her face glowed with a warm smile. Never forget that song. Makes me want to cry whenever I hear it. I'm just glad you're back. Felt like I was losing you, like you were going somewhere far, far away. Before I knew it, I was humming the song for you. I don't know if I ever mentioned it, but I wrote it when I first started out as a musician. I knew you liked it, so... Kid gave a gentle nod. It was you. You were the one who called me back. That was you calling me name. Thanks, USB port. It's okay now. I'm back. Suddenly she gasped with pain. Link's saber had plunged deep into her right shoulder. Towering over us was Lynx himself. Lynx looks a little different here. I told you I would kill you, kid. She had no strength left to fight. What would I do? I tried to protect Kid. Threw myself over Kid's inert form. I had to protect her. Ah, you rushed needlessly to your grave, boy. Lynx glared coldly at me with his remaining eye. Alas, your time has come. He raised the saber high, preparing to strike. Enough. Stunned, we looked towards the intruder. You. Is this Radius? There stood an old crone. Oh, her wizened features obscured by a heavy hood. How she made it all the way down here? Lady Vera. What have we done to bring Poir's Magister General running, I wonder? Been far too long, Lord Lynx. Pity I seem not to have caught you at your best. The crone met Lynx's mad stare head on. I will take the frozen flame. After all, it seems you two have been quite unable to decide which of you should have it. Yeah, the music is crescendoing. She raised a hand and armed soldiers poured into the room. Magil lifted Kid to her feet. This seems like a good time to leave, Lynx snarled. You'll regret this, witch. He kicked off from the floor and his body rose into the air. He turned his venomous glare on us. And you, Kid, you'll pay with your life soon enough. You'll never be safe from me. With that, he disappeared like a puff of smoke. Crone lingered for a moment, her eyes resting on us. Kid, if you wish to try to steal the frozen flame again, you're welcome to try anytime you please. We'll be waiting. You have to get out of here alive first. Soldiers drew their weapons and fell upon us. Darkness heeded my call. The Kid slumped against them. Magil spread his arms and drew a sigil in the air. Hurry, USB port this way. I grabbed onto him and we plunged into the blackness. I wonder if I did this right, if I could have made out of here with the frozen flame. I mean, I'm not going to find out. Well, I mean, I'll find out, but not on the stream. Thanks to Magil's magic, we escaped the manor alive. The lights of torches dotted the forest, and we could hear the soldiers calling to one another. We stopped briefly in the darkness of the woods. The Kid leaned heavily on a tree, desperate trying to quiet her ragged breathing. It was a terrible wound she suffered, and it seemed to be taking its toll. You okay, Kid? Yeah, don't worry about me, mate. We're surrounded. It won't be long before they find us, said Magil, his eyes cautiously scanning the area. Kid raised her head to look at me. It's me and Magil they want. Get out of here, USB port. They want us, not you. What are you saying? I'm not leaving you here. Look at you. You can barely stand. Nothing I can't handle. Besides, I got Magil with me. If they catch you with us, they won't go easy on you, but... Remembered everything. Another me. A me from a long time ago. Slowly, Kiz averted her gaze, looking up at the night sky. I have to go. Stars reflected in her eyes, and suddenly she looked like nothing more than an ordinary young girl with a sad, distant expression on her face. Don't worry, USB port, I'm okay. We'll meet again. Kid smiled. We'll meet again somewhere, someday. Sometime, promise. Her eyes closed gently. I didn't manage to nick the frozen flame in the end. I lost the time egg, too. One thing I left of Lucas. But it's okay. Everything's gonna be okay. Something inside me that shines brighter than any stupid jewel. Most important thing in the world. She opened her eyes and fixed them on me. I lost myself in their depths forever. No one can take it from me. Not for as long as I live. Nothing else in the world I wanted but this. Doubted I'd ever wanted anything again. Only wanted this moment. All the clocks in the world could have stopped right then and there for all I cared. Then it was exactly what I wished for as I gazed at her. Goodbye, USB port. Thanks. She looked down and turned away and disappeared into the darkness of the night. Would I ever see her again? Don't follow me, USB port. Just don't. Strained to try and catch a glimpse of her as the last traces of her shadow vanished. Vanished towards a place I might never reach again. Excuse me. No, kid. I leapt to my feet, meaning to chase after, but a shadow soon blocked my path. Magil? Without saying a word, he slowly shook his head. Behind the mask, I saw a sadness in his eyes. Then the shadow withdrew and melted into the darkness. Magil? Kid? Wait, don't leave me. I screamed into the night, but there was no reply. The black silence swallowed my cries. Kid. Kid. I went up into the starry sky. It's gotta be the end. It's a pantomiming of the end. Get some Radical Dreamers credits now, do we? So ends another tale. Perhaps one day I'll see Kid, Magil, and Riddell again. One day. Well, 2 out of 3 of them. Somewhere at another time in another world. Perhaps none of us will even realize it. That's a story for another day. For now, I must put down my pen. Is this the goblin? Is this the story of the goblin? Grimsmeld? This Grimsmeld's story. Closed my grandfather's diary. Then from downstairs, I heard my mother calling. You hear me? Your friend's here. Nimble footsteps charged up the stairs. The door flew open. In tumbled a young girl. She seemed familiar. Hey, USB port. It's a beautiful day for adventuring. Found a rundown old manor off in the woods to the north. You want to go exploring? Come on, put the book down. Let's get out there. Now we get credits. It's like Final Fantasy 1, almost. I mean, yeah, for the Super Nintendo, even if it's like Satellaview or whatever, the graphics that it has are really nice. Yeah, I agree. Sad endings feel more real for some reason. I don't want to say they're more relatable, but it's more realistic, I guess. Things, you know, things aren't always going to work out in reality. So sometimes a sad ending is just more realistic. Thank you, David. Yeah, I know there's multiple endings, but I have no idea how to get any of them, or what they are. Yeah, I'll Google it after. I don't know what else, like, other than whatever messing around I could have done in the final battle. I don't know what else I could have possibly done there. But I didn't look at a lot of books, too, so... That's alright. Credits are still Japanese, and then after this, we're gonna see, like, the new ending for this. That's gonna be it for Chrono Cross for a bit. Then, like I said, I don't expect me to be on Friday. I sincerely doubt I'll be free Friday. I genuinely want to stream Saturday, but I don't think I have time to. I think I'll be too busy. But Sunday, I am gonna get started on Final Fantasy VII again. Thank you, Pop, too. I guess, yeah. The fact that credits are in Japanese, yeah, shows how lazy the dev team was towards the remaster. I mean, I appreciate that, Alan. And believe me, like, that's why I worked some days off into my rotation compared to when I streamed every day. I mean, not only is it important for me to, you know, do some other stuff for a change of pace, it's important too for you guys to, like, if I'm not here, you guys might be more inclined to be like, you know, just do different stuff. Doesn't hurt to have a change of pace every so often. I shouldn't be saying that because always watch me and do nothing but watch me. You know what I mean. I don't want to overextend myself. And then I end up taking like a 3-week-long break just because I'm not taking like 2 days when I need it. Finn. I assumed it was Kid, but I don't know. Kid, Le Trésor Internet completed. So there's seven endings with this. I'm happy getting all these endings wasn't part of the trophy, now that I know that. Yeah, it's a quick run, Craig. This part is, anyway, the Radical Dreamers part. Anyway, I guess I can just do this now. But I want all the endings. I select credits now, don't I? I'm actually not sure. But I'm gonna watch these credits, and then if it's not the credits, it's in options. Settings, you mean? What do you mean? For Radical Dreamers, you're saying, Alan? Oh, or do I watch the credits? Credits, yeah, okay. So we will let this run through. And I guess because we beat both games, we get a little bonus at the end here. But yeah, that's pretty bad. They didn't even translate the credits for Radical Dreamers. They couldn't even be bothered. Hey, welcome back, Nick. Here just in time to see the bonus ending that's in this collection. No worries, Alan. It's all good. Yeah, just in time for the finale, yeah. Exactly. But yeah. Sunday, we'll do Final Fantasy VII. Then I think that'll be Sunday, Monday, and then Tuesday, Edgewind Chronicles, I think, is out. In which case, I'll be playing that. And then I'll be doing some mixture of that and 7, as I see fit. Square is pretty lazy nowadays. They kind of rely on their fan base to mod their games to make them playable. Like, it's a bit much sometimes. I can't wait for the text adventure that will accompany Adelaide Cross, yeah. Moderate realists. Yes. Assuming these credits aren't, yeah, mins long. I'm assuming they'll be mins long. Game testers. Just those 4 people, I would believe it. Although, I don't know. I don't know how much stuff the QA people pointed out, and whoever was in charge of fixing was like, eh. Like, you can't rule that out, too. Like, QA... Some cases, a QA department could be just fine, but, like, whoever's above them that's like, here's the things you should change. If they just don't want to listen, then... You know how when you go from another world to home world and back, how the screen shifts up about an inch? Can't you fix that? No. No, we can't. Not that there's really a lot in this remaster that I have to complain about. Like, obviously the frame rate's a little janky. I probably care less about that than almost anybody, though. I've sort of adopted a mindset of, if I notice frame rate chopping, I will point it out. But I really don't care if the frame rate's bad, so long as it doesn't affect the gameplay. Yeah. Compromise or death. Still waiting on the FF remasters to have bugs ironed out. Yeah, you'll be waiting a while, I think, right? So all these people had something to do with this game. Guessing Richard Honeywood isn't here. Then at some time after that, we're gonna circle back around to Chrono Trigger. Then I want to do like Chrono Trigger mod of some sort. Then Ocarina of Time. Yeah, I hope everyone has a great weekend too, Jeff B. Decompress a little bit from the week. Thank you for the lard, the speedy, everything, Jeff. Square Enix isn't known for fixing bugs on a game. Yeah, that isn't a flagship game. Yeah, at that moment. Yeah, is there anything else I can really complain about? The only other things I have to complain about this remaster is just stuff that I think would have made the game better had they made this more than just basically a straight port. Like, if there was cut content from the original game, you could have put that in, I don't know. Like, if you were supposed to go back to Terra Tower when it was the final form, could have added that. I don't know. And like I was saying earlier, like, there should have been a way, like, either after you, like, watch all the endings or get all the characters, that you can start the game over at level 1, but you can assemble the entire cast at the very beginning of the game at level 1. So then you could play through the game with any assortment of characters at level 1. That would have been such an easy thing to include, I think. I don't know anything about coding, but I don't think that'd be that complicated. They already have the Chrono Cross that does that. Just have it so it can do it at the start of the game. Then you have all kinds of replay value that you didn't even have before. Well, I'm gonna start the game, I'm gonna play as Mickey, Starkey, and Skelly. This is gonna be my team for this playthrough. Level 1. But, you know, that's, you know, kind of the definition of a nitpick, because, you know, just a random idea I had. Maybe if they thought of it, they would have been like, oh shit, let's add this to the game. So I don't know. But I think they really should have added something like that. Yeah, it's this version of Time Scar that is weird, but I like it. Yeah, Chrono Cross with permadeath and autosave. That'd be interesting too. Permadeath. Be nice if, yeah, added like 50 dual triple text. Yeah, there should have definitely been a lot more dual text, triple text and stuff. Like, there was a couple, but like, not many. I still haven't actually experienced the extra content in Chrono Trigger. Although that's gonna change in the next, like, month or so when I finally play the Steam variety that has the bonus DS content on it. What's next after... I'm gonna be doing Vanilla 7 before I circle back to Chrono Trigger. But I think I'll play the Steam one, so... and tentatively think about getting the trophies. I might have some of them already, in which case, fine, but... I know I don't have the nasty ones. Okay, so we got a bonus now. Time was near, the final battle awaited. There, alone in the shadows, the man lingered. His partners, a young man and a young woman, had already made their preparations, and were waiting for him at the place they had agreed upon. I should make a couple of shorts for Final Fantasy VII while I'm, like, you know, mucking around with the footage. Steam only... Oh, Steam doesn't even have the arena? Really? I'm surprised that was removed. I assumed that would be in it. That's so dumb that that's not in it. Their foe is a fearsome opponent indeed. Would the three of them be able to defeat him? There's only one way to find out, all the better. What fun is a battle whose outcome is all but certain? FF7 stream, yeah, then I'm down like Sindri. Yeah, I figure, you know, once the idea was put into my head, I don't think a lot of you are gonna have gonna voice a lot of complaints about me playing 7. Man reached a hand to his mask, silver and embellished, save for a few subtle details. Been many long years since he last revealed his face. Oh, down like syndrome. Gotcha. I dig 7, as I mentioned, left a bad taste in my mouth. Right, yeah, I get that now. Due to it heralding the end of the sprite-based era. Did he wear the mask to hide himself from others, or did he wear it to hide from himself? The arena allows you to get unlimited prism specs. And they took it out of the Steam version. I can't believe that. Enough time had passed that not even he was sure anymore. Didn't matter now, the end was coming, an end to everything. Soon as long days of wandering would be over. So too would the girl's ill-fated, fleeting existence. How many years had passed? How many centuries? How many millennia? How much love and prayer? How much hatred and rancor? How much despair and resignation had slowly and silently fallen over him, piling up like snow. On that fated day long ago, everything that he was had vanished, faded away into nothingness, without so much as a whimper. There's nothing he could have done to stop him. But one memory stayed with him, even after everything else fell away. Same square that delisted the previous 5 and 6 from Steam. Yeah, that had additional content as well. Oh, really? I didn't know that fans actually added that much to those mobile ports. Well, I gotta get back, y'all. Alright, Nick. I'll see you Sunday, and if I see the letter C, I'll tell her what to do. Thank you for stopping in, Nick. Enjoy your ship. Kingdom of Winds Forever Lost, those blessed into paradise. Some. Perhaps his time behind the mask. It's coming to an end. His icy gaze seemed to thaw for a moment. Damn it, I missed it. I just barely missed it again. I probably only missed the most important piece of the dialogue. The moonlight flashed across the mast's surface. His silvery hair flowed behind him, reaching out like the tail of a comet. The time has come, O faded star. The king has returned, and with that he vanished into the darkness. Though a life may end, story lives on. Not forever, perhaps, but... What's eternity compared to this moment in time? Finn. That made 0 sense to me at all. Like, was that supposed to make any sense to me? Chrono Cross? Or did I really just talk over that and not actually... Like, I read it, but I didn't take it in. Hi, Speedy. Buddy. How are you? Hey, buddy. Wait a goddamn moment. Alan, did that mean anything to you? I'm all ears. That meant nothing to me, and I'm not gonna take another 15 minutes to go back through that and read it again. Are there different new endings? I don't know. I don't know if it has any bearing on the Radical Dreamers ending that I got. Like, if I get a different ending because I didn't do them all, like, I don't know if that has any bearing on it. I remember reading a name. I don't know. I don't know what happened. Yeah, that was clearly... Oh. It's clearly about Magil. Oh, Magil's Magus. Was I supposed to know that? But yeah, I don't know exactly what it meant. I remember seeing a name. Yeah, I don't know. That didn't mean anything to me. But if it's supposed to be about Magus, then I don't know. The only thing I'm thinking about that is if they're gonna go to if they're going to bother adding a cryptic ending to this game, they're really not gonna give us a sequel or more context. You're just gonna give us more vague ramblings and not follow through. Come on, I swear. I don't know about that. They might. Wouldn't rule it out, but I don't know, guys. Magus. Really hadn't noticed. Well, I mean, his name is originally Janus. For all the different, for that matter. So what am I supposed to go on? Well, anyway, that was the Radical Dreamers portion of the game. I'm glad that they at least included it with this. Because, I mean, for a visual novel, a little diversion, it's fine. I had no issue with that. Thing was a very last lazy ending to explain that Guile was That's what that was supposed to be? Yeah, I knew that about Guile, how he was supposed to be Magus, but I didn't know that Magil is also Magus. I'm gonna have to do some wikiing or something after the stream. But I'm gonna call this a stream for now. Once again, I want to thank you all so very much for joining me in this Chrono Cross adventure. It was a good time. I got a surprising amount off my chest during the stream, like during the series, so it was a fun time, and it was, otherwise beneficial to me, so hopefully that can help me keep up the stream quality, so thanks again. Don't forget the Lard, and I'll be back for Final Fantasy VII on Sunday, most likely. And then we'll get to go to Rocket Town again. And then we'll really not forget the Lard. In case you don't know where the Don't Forget the Lard thing came from, we'll live through that again soon. Have a good one, folks.